Hey guys, so today I want to do a video on my top 30 games of this year, 2024. I played a lot of games this year, and it's really coming to an end soon as I'm filming this video. Only a few days left this year, so I thought might as well do a countdown video. Now, something about this year is just comparing the amount of games I played this year and just comparing to last year, because I did play a lot of games in recent years. Yeah, overall, the games this year is not as high quality, I would say, as last year overall. And I think I made a video last year, top 30 games from 2023, and it was just such a stacked year. I think that's what prompted me to make that video in the first place, is just because there's so many great games that came out last year. And I think the reason is probably because a lot of game developers that were set to release games in 2020, 2021, 2022 had to push them back because of COVID. So because of COVID, those games got pushed to, I think, 2023, which is the first year really in which, the COVID restrictions were totally lifted. So yeah, like 2020, 2021, 2022, you had COVID restrictions, right? 2023 was kind of the first year in which the COVID restrictions were kind of lifted. So you ended up getting a lot of games that came out last year that were, very, very good quality. So I think last year, 2023, might be one of the strongest years in gaming. Just there's so many great games that came out last year. Yeah, like I said, probably because the game developers that were set to release their games during COVID had to push it back, and then they released it in 2023 instead. And at the same time, normally you have games that come out every year anyways, right? So you have those backlog of developers, a backlog of games that were set to come out, got pushed back to 2023 last year and got released, along with your regular schedule of releasing games that came out last year as well. So overall, just last year had such a high quality amount of games, quantity and quality, I would say, in the games. And yeah, this year, honestly, it's not going to match up. I mean, just look at the Game of the Year nominations for this year compared to last year. I'm not just saying that 2024 didn't have good games. It did. But just compared to 2023, it's definitely like, a notch below, in my opinion. Just look at the top 30 video I made last year, right? The countdown video. I think number 30 was like Diablo 4, which is a pretty good game, for at least in any other year. But last year, it ended up being top 30, like number 30 on my list. So it just goes to show, right? Last year was so stacked. Diablo 4, I think, came in at number 30. I think Wargroove 2 was an honorable mention. They didn't even make the list. But yeah, this year, I play a lot of games. I mean, I'm looking at my Steam Replay 2024. Now, keep in mind, these are only the games I played on my Steam account. 391 games I played on Steam this year. That's not counting the games I played on my Epic launcher. So my Epic games is a separate account. That's not counting those games. It's not counting my Nintendo Switch games. Not counting my PlayStation 5 games. Only the games I played on Steam. 391. I think it's quite a bit. Most of them being demos. I like to check out demos. But yeah, that's more than one unique game per day, which is, I think, quite an accomplishment, considering that I was actually traveling and busy, like basically half the year. So I had like a wedding this year, and I had a lot of stuff to prepare, and I kept going back and forth between Korea, since my fiance and wife was in Korea, and I had a lot of stuff to do. And this is 391 unique games played despite that, despite being traveling for half the year and having a wedding and everything. So I think that's an accomplishment. I mean, if I was single, just imagine how many more games I could have played if I was single, right? This is the amount of games I managed to play despite having like a wedding and a wife and fiance to take care of. Like, yeah, I think that's an accomplishment. Anyways, yeah, 391 games played this year. Now, this is only counting until I think the second week of December. So the last 2 weeks of December where I played a few more games wasn't counted. So actually it was more than 391, I think. And as I said, this is only Steam, not even counting the games I played on Switch and PS5 and Epic Store. There's a lot. I would say, like, I played maybe 400 something, 450 maybe, close to 500 if you were to count those games. But yeah, 513 achievements unlocked. 70% with keyboard and mouse. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing on PC, right? So I'm going to use a keyboard and mouse mostly. If I'm going to be using controller, I'm probably going to be playing Switch or PlayStation, honestly. Far Cry 5. This is the one because this is my most played game just because my buddy always wants to play this game with me. So I generally don't play this game unless my buddy wants to play, and he always wants to play. So it's the thing. It's like every few weeks he asks me to play games. And it's always Far Cry 5 because that's his favorite game. So anyways, it's only the most played because my buddy keeps wanting to play this game. Elden Ring, yeah, I played a bunch of Elden Ring with my brother. Black Myth Wukong. I think Black Myth Wukong was the game I played the most, just single player. Yeah, Elden Ring and Far Cry 5, those kind of multiplayer. Black Myth Wukong, I love this game. It's my pick for Game of the Year, by the way. I would pick Black Myth Wukong for Game of the Year. It's an amazing game. I played it probably the most out of any single player game. All right, so 513, Steam Median 13, haha. I beat them by 500. 391 games, I beat the median by 387 games. Wow. Longest streak was 20 games, 20 days, okay. Anyways, 42% new releases. That's because I'm mostly playing demos, I think. And the type of games I play, maybe not too surprising, but I play a lot of Souls-likes. Mythology, Colony Sim, Open World Survival Craft, visual novels. Warhammer is as a separate category. I didn't even know Warhammer was a separate category on its own, but okay. I would count that as... Well, Warhammer thing is what Warhammer is. They have so many different types of games. I can't even say they're all strategy. There's some are FPS, some people are shooters. I mean, there's different kind of Warhammer games, right? Yeah, I didn't know it's his own category though. I didn't write that many reviews. I should really write more reviews on Steam, but I didn't write that many reviews. Honestly, I'm always busy playing games, so I'm too busy playing to be writing reviews. Far Cry 5, yeah, again, because my buddy won't like to play Far Cry 5, so whenever he wants to play, I play Far Cry 5 with him, which is like every few weeks. It's like it's his drug. He needs a fix, right? Every few months. Tom, let's do some slaughter. Let's play some Far Cry 5. Okay, fine. You know, he wants his fix, so he's like an addict. Elden Ring, yeah, played a lot with my brother. Black Myth Wukong, Journeying into the West, yeah, played a lot of it when it came out. This is funny. Love Photon Melodies. I love this game. One of my favorite visual novels. I think it was on my top 10 visual novels ranking. I love Photon Melodies. Yeah. Actually, I didn't even completely beat this game. I beat one of the routes. Like one of the sub... Like if you go into Photon Melodies, it's like a bunch of different like sub... There's different stories, actually. This is like a collection of different stories. So it's not even just one game. It's a collection of different stories, and I just finished one of them. One of them took me like, yeah, a bunch of time. But it's funny. I love this game. So funny. The humor is amazing. I didn't even get to check out the other stories yet, honestly. So Photon Melodies is great. Recommend this visual novel to many people. Love Photon Melodies. Played some Shrouded because I think I got my brother into this game a bit. It's this open world crafting game, but honestly it's a little bit boring because like once you get all this open world crafting and Souls-like stuff out of the way, like it's kind of an empty world. It's a big world, but it's kind of an empty world. I played almost every month except for April because this was my wedding month, so I really didn't get to play much that month. Yeah, I didn't play too much VR. Haven't been gone much into VR these days. I have a MetaQuest 3, so I really should go more to VR because, yeah, MetaQuest 3 is a pretty good VR headset, but no, most of the games I play wasn't VR games. Subnautica, yeah, I love VR Chat. VR Chat is not really a game, in my opinion. It's like kind of a social app. It's like, if you count VR Chat as a game, do you count like Habbo Hotel as a game? Do you count Second Life as a game? I mean, these are games, but like they're more like social apps to me. So anyways, not counting VR Chat, Subnautica. I love Subnautica. That's such a great game. I played this in VR, which made it all the more scarier, actually. But yeah, you can play it normally too. Riven Remake is great as well. Yeah, Riven Remake, Subnautica. I did not know Fuga 2 is VR. How could this be a VR game? That's like a 2D game. Not sure why that's VR. But yeah, Subnautica and Riven Remake, these are great games to play in VR. Especially Subnautica. There's so much exploration in that game. Controller games. Black Myth Wukong, yep. I played that with the controller. Elden Ring as well. Both these games are all-time great. If you could ask me all-time great RPGs, Wukong is going to be on it. Elden Ring is going to be on it. Until Then is an amazing game. But so you can see a big drop-off. That's because I love playing Wukong and Elden Ring. But yeah, Visions of Mana, Akiba's Trip, I played this so many times on many platforms. Until Then is like, man, it should really like, people nominated Balatro, right, for Game of the Year. And I was like, okay, Balatro is a good game. It's like a roguelike poker game, but there's so many other games I think I would rather, like, I would suggest to people just for an indie games, right? Balatro's an indie game. And I've seen other indie games mentioned this year, like Animal Well. But like, if you play more indie games, I play a lot of indie games this year, right? Like, I'm pretty sure all those demos were indie games. So you can say like well over 200 indie games this year. Until Then doesn't really get mentioned, and it really should, because this is one of my favorite adventure games. Just period. Not even talking just indie games. This is an amazing adventure game. More people should check it out. I don't hear Until Then mentioned in any Game of the Year nominations. And people talk about Animal Well and Balatro. I mean, yeah, those games are good, but like, check out more indie games. There's games like Starstruck, Until Then, 1000 X Resist. These are great games that should be mentioned more. But yeah, I don't know. Like, people need to play more indie games. I play a lot of indie games, and yeah, Until Then is great. One of my favorite indie games ever, actually, not just this year, but ever. And unfortunately, it doesn't get mentioned that much. It's an amazing adventure game. 200 demos, a lot of demos. I played 84 different games between October 13th and November 2nd. Wow. I'm impressed. I might impress myself. 84 different games between October 13th, November 2nd. Wow. Anyways, yeah, I guess I had some time, even though I was actually traveling during that time. I think it's because I had to like, my schedule was very different when I changed to, went to Korea for a bit. But anyways, yeah, Amnesia: Dark Descent, Besiege, Call of Cthulhu. I actually couldn't get this game working very well. Not sure why. I couldn't get this game working very well. This is the 2018 version of Call of Cthulhu. There's a bunch of Call of Cthulhu games. Pathologic 2, Far Cry 5. Wait. Oh, okay. Not just demos. Okay. But this is all the games I played during this time, right? So this is less than a month. This is 20 days. Okay, 20 days I played 84 different games. I wonder who can beat that. 20 days and 84 different games. You guys calculate how many games per day that is. It's quite a bit. Shining Resonance Refrain. I don't remember anything much about this one. Oh, is this the one with the dragons? Okay, this might be the one with the dragons in it. I play so many games I have to kind of remember. Unless the game's really, really good and catches my attention, I usually don't remember it too well. I remember Stone Shard being okay. Passage Ancients. Oh, Starstruck Hands of Time is good. I actually remember this game. This is a good game. This is kind of like an adventure RPG game, but you have like rhythm sections in it where it's kind of like Guitar Hero. I think you can actually hook up a Guitar Hero controller as well. Anyway, Starstruck Hands of Time is good. I encourage people to check out this game. That's very memorable for me. I played so many games this year, right? So to be memorable for me this year is you got to be a pretty good game. Roguebook is another roguelike, I think. Crimson Diamond is good. I remember this game. This is like a point-and-click adventure game that's done in the style of the 90s Sierra point-and-click adventures, like King's Quest, Space Quest, Leisure Suit Larry. So, highly recommend this one. This is that Square Enix card game. Road 96 is pretty good. This is I don't think it's by the same developers as Firewatch, but it kind of reminded me of Firewatch. It's kind of like the same kind of graphical style of storytelling, but you have different routes and stuff that you can pick with different people. And every time you play, it's a little bit different because you meet different people. So Road 96 is pretty good. Frequent 2 is okay. Let's see. Sucker for Love. Yeah, Sucker for Love is a pretty decent visual novel. It's just fun. It's just funny to play, I guess, because it's like a romantic horror visual novel, which you don't often see those genres together. The Quarry, high production values, but it's almost like an interactive movie. 1000 X Resist, this is what I'm talking about. Another great indie game that should be mentioned more. Game of the Year awards. That's a great game. Yeah, sci-fi adventure with time travel elements in it as well. So I recommend this game. Anyone wants to check out something like that. Really cool sci-fi adventure indie game. Plain Effect, I couldn't figure this game out. Don't remember much about this one. Access Unseen. Oh, I remember this one actually, Access Unseen. Yeah, it's actually kind of scary at times because I'm in this open world and well, it's just this open world where it's survival, right? But you have these crazy monsters that come at you as well, like Sasquatch and stuff. Everring, don't remember too much about that one. Sulfur, no. Metal Gear Solid 2. This and Metal Gear Solid 3, these are remasters, so I played both of these. They're classics. Redacted, yeah, I played that one a bit. Thronefall, Sick of Love, Date to Die 4 I liked a little bit better than the original. I think Date to Die 4 is cool. It expands upon the original Sucker for Love, so I like that one. The visual horror romance visual novel. That one's alright, just killing zombies and stuff. Straftat, Sonar Shock. Shiro in the Cold Town was alright. This one was like, you play Shiro-chan and then it's like this nice slice of life type relaxing adventure game that you play. Clock Tower Rewind. It's a remaster of the original Clock Tower horror adventure game. That really is the first time we ever got to see Clock Tower localized officially. So this is a nice game. For those of you guys who haven't played Clock Tower yet, like in an official capacity, because you can get like fan translations for this game, but yeah, like this is the first time it's ever been officially released in English in the West. So check it out. Clock Tower Rewind is good. I mean, it's a great horror adventure game to begin with. So, Since Memories, I think this is just an okay visual novel. Yeah, not that great for me actually. Just kind of, yeah. This is not bad actually. It's like front mission. Otosuka Parents. So Hokkaido Serial Murder Case is kind of like Famicom Detective Club. So a lot of investigation stuff. You just got to keep clicking on stuff, and yeah, a little bit frustrating to play at times. This one wasn't that great. Numeric Lines, okay. Yeah, this one's like a CRPG. Lies Bar wasn't that great. Witchfire is okay. Okay, let's look at the timeline. Explore the games I played this year. So yeah, at the end of this video, after all this, I'm gonna do my top 30 ranking, right? Let's just look at the games I played this year. Muv-Luv Full-Time Melodies. I played these games. Full-Time Melodies is great. Like I said, one of my favorite visual novels, and I just played one story and I found it hilarious. Really recommend this game to anyone who likes visual novels. In Muv-Luv especially, Full-Time Melodies might be my favorite Muv-Luv game. Maybe even more than Extra, and Extra is already great too. All right, trying 2. Planet Coaster. That's a great game. Love Planet Coaster. I think anyone who loves Roller Coaster Tycoon should play Planet Coaster. It's great. I know there's a Planet Coaster 2. I haven't checked it out yet, but the original is pretty good. Another okay visual novel, DC Da Capo. So Shrouded, like I said, me and my brother played that a bit. If My Heart Had Rings. I remember I played some visual novels this month. If My Heart Had Rings was okay. Power World. I mean, people say it's like Pokemon, but it's not really that much like Pokemon. It's like more, it's Craftopia, but with more Pokemon looking monsters. That's really about it. It doesn't really play much like Pokemon. It just happens to have creatures that look like Pokemon. That's it. Danganronpa 2. Love Is All Around is cool. It's kind of like it's like a dating sim, but with full motion video of these like pretty Chinese girls and stuff. So actually, it's a fun game for me to play, because some of it's pretty funny actually. I actually like playing where Love Is All Around. Still the End. Oh, it's another visual novel that was just okay. It's okay visual novel. Maitetsu, The Invincible. I think this is like one of those survival games as well. Sci-fi rewrite. I play a lot of visual novels this month. Summer Pockets. Marco and the Galaxy Dragon is one of my favorites. Love that visual novel. Again, I love the humor, the quirky humor, and the animation is so good. More people should know about that one. Marco and the Galaxy Dragon. It's one of my favorite visual novels. Craftopia, yeah, it's like Craftopia and then Power World is pretty similar in my opinion. Just Power World has more Pokemon type monsters. Planet Explorer is another open world survival crafting game in a sci-fi setting. What's this one? The Planetarian, I think. Yeah, it's okay. Grey Goo is okay. Mega Man Legacy Collection, you can play a bit of that. Little Busters, that's okay. Visual novel too. Double. We met Tetsu, I think. Okay, if I don't say too much, that means I didn't find it that interesting. E7, not that interesting. Pester Quest. Harmonia, not that interesting. Metro 23 Redux. Sakura Nova. Yeah, it's another visual novel. It's kind of eroge. Not that interesting. Dwarf Fortress, Justice 2, Legend of Emberland. Gas Station Simulator, Danganronpa, V3. This is all in 1 month, by the way. Smash Coming Home, Legend Hot Play, Five Nights at Freddy's, RimWorld. Maps 2, I'm just looking here. Food Truck, Boneworks. Closure. Alcana, I love this visual novel. I think I didn't play that much because I already kind of beat it, but Alcana's great. So is Alcana Extra 2. But Alcana Extra 2 is it's kind of like an extra story that focuses on Misaki. But I want one that really focuses on Asuka. Give me the Asuka like extra DLC content, okay? Like they have one for what's her face here? The little girl, annoying girl here. I don't care about her. Misaki was okay. That's why I got her. But where's the one for Asuka? I want one for Asuka, man. But Alcana, one of my favorite visual novels. Yeah, beat this one, and really liked it. Yeah. Let's see what else here. Dredge is great. I played more of this last year, I think, though. Yeah, Dredge is one of my favorite games. I had it in my top 30 last year. Great indie game. Firewatch, another great indie game. Played a bit of that. Memories of Celtica, Graven. Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun is pretty good for those of you guys who like Doom and Quake. Consortium. I think Consortium VR. Yeah, they had a VR version, which honestly had a few bugs, I think. Yeah, I had some issues when I was playing it, so it wasn't like... I think maybe they might have patched it, but it had some issues. But Consortium as an original game was pretty good. It's kind of like this very interactive adventure game. But yeah, Consortium VR. Well, yeah, I hope they fix the bugs on it. Crosscode is great. I love it. One of my favorite indie RPGs. Sekiro's great. Very difficult, but great. Turbo Overkill, I like this game as well. Very fast-paced FPS. Ultra Kill as well. Turbo Overkill and Ultra Kill are both good. Plunge is an interesting, like, puzzle platformer. Has a necromancy, like fast-paced FPS. Starbound, kind of like Terraria, but in space. Paper Sorcerer, pretty good RPG. I like it. Undertale, same thing, pretty good RPG. This is like really influential indie RPG actually. Then February, what did I play? Enshrouded? Oh yeah, I played a lot of Enshrouded with my brother. Company Heroes 2, yeah, as an RTS, it's okay. Eternights, not bad. It's not like, yeah, Eternights is like, I think this might have been overlooked a bit last year. It did come out last year, but it's just because it's from like an indie Korean developer. I like to support it. It's not like a great RPG, but it's okay. It's done fairly well. I think more people should check it out. Helldivers 2, yep, played a bit of that. But I think it's really the best for multiplayer here. Let's see what else. Tomb Raider remastered, Mummy demastered. It's okay. Dark Forces remaster. I forgot that it came out this year as well. Yep. Star Wars Dark Forces got a remaster. Okay, March, Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, pretty good RPG actually. Not like, it's not my favorite RPG of the year, but I think it's like one of the best RPGs that came out this year. It should be on that list anyways, Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, I would still put it Wukong above it, but it's still pretty good. Kiba's Trip, I love playing this game, played it many times on a lot of platforms. Grandia, this is Grandia 1 remaster because I would play 2. And Grandia is a great JRPG as well. Bard's Tale, I think this is the Bard's Tale remastered, which is not really that good. Alone in the Dark remake, I think this kind of flew over a lot of people's heads. They probably didn't realize there was a remake of Alone in the Dark that came out this year, but it did. And it's okay. Actually, for Alone in the Dark game, it's probably one of the best. You gotta realize that the original Alone in the Dark games are not that good. Like, unlike, you know, a lot of people think the original good, the games are really good, you know, whenever it starts a franchise. Like Tomb Raider, the original 3 are really good. And most of the time, you think the original games, like, no, Doom 1, Doom 2, Quake 1, Quake 2, like, those are all good. Alone in the Dark, the first 3 Alone in the Dark games sucked. They're horrible games. Like, the control's so horrible. The only reason like they're good, like people remember them, is just because they were like pioneering horror games. They were like the original Alone in the Dark games were some of the first horror games to come out. That's why people remember them, but they weren't good games, not at all. So this remake is actually much better than the original 3. So this remake actually might be the best Alone in the Dark game I played. Not saying much, but yeah. Then Trails, yeah, Trails in the Sky. Pretty good. Might be one of my favorite Legend of the Heroes game, but it's actually not one of the... Even this year, there was a better one that came out this year, which is Trails Through Daybreak. But Trails in the Sky 3rd is pretty good for a Legend of Heroes game. I liked it better than any of the Cold Steel ones. So, I mean, take that as you will. But yeah, Legend of Heroes. I wouldn't say Legend of Heroes is like any of the games that are really that great. They're just all kind of good, but not great. But Trails in the Sky is not bad. Let's see, Bard's Tale, Dark Forces again. Yeah, so April, I only got time to play one game, which was Song of Seiya. And yeah, Song of Seiya is a great visual novel. And that was the only one I played and finished. Great visual novel, loved it. I think it's on my top 10 visual novels ranking. So go check out Song of Seiya if you haven't. Okay, May. Why did I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel? Interesting. Don't even remember playing much of that. Songs of Conquest. Remember this being kind of like, what, Heroes of Might and Magic or something? And then I played some Utaru Ramono. That's a visual novel. Surviving Mars, no more. Oh, Read Only Memories Neurodiver. Yeah, I remember that sequel came out. I think Read Only Memories is pretty good. That's another game that kind of got overlooked. You know, Cafe Similar, not very good. Matchless Kung Fu. Kind of like an open world wuxia survival game. Just interesting. Subterranean. Sea Blip. Actually, Sea Blip was pretty good. That's pretty in-depth, as you do a lot of stuff in it. Kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like the Stardew Valley type of games, like kind of life simulator games. Same thing with Terrain, kind of like Stardew Valley type games. So you can put a lot of time into that. Littlewood, same thing. Return of the Obra Dinn is really cool. This is like by the same guy who made Papers, Please. Really, really cool game done in a very, very unique art style. Chrono Arc. That's an interesting roguelike. Dream Tactics. It's okay. Dread Delusion. I think this is trying to be like... is this the game that's trying to be like Kingsfield? I think it's trying to be like Kingsfield, right? Yeah, anyways. Dread Delusion's okay, I think. So yeah, I remember trying Starship Troopers, but kind of forgettable. Consortium Remastered. I mean, there's 2 Consortium games that came out this year. Consortium Remastered and Consortium VR, which is kind of crazy, but... Yeah, Consortium's always fun to go back to play. Pixel Noir, actually not bad. Better than the reviews, actually, when I looked at it. These ones are just okay. Four Last Things, kind of a funny game. If you guys like this type of game, it's like this developer makes these type of Renaissance medieval times inspired paintings and stuff, and he makes some point and click adventures, and it's always very unique to go back to those. So yeah, Four Last Things, very unique game. It's like this developer always goes with the Renaissance medieval painting theme. The Starcrawler's Chimera, I think that's a roguelike. These ones are kind of forgettable. King's Veins, okay. Hades 2, of course that's a sequel to the beloved roguelike Hades. Yeah, plays pretty much the same as Hades. Myth Force is interesting. Actually, this is kind of got a nice cartoony style to it. I like that one. Ender Magnolias is kind of the sequel to Ender Lilies, if you guys have played Ender Lilies. Fell Seal, if you like Final Fantasy Tactics, is that one. High Water. Wilden Myth is actually not bad either. I think that one, yeah, that one's like a turn-based RPG, I think. Felvidic, Terramoya. Yeah, all the other ones, all quite interesting. This is kind of like Valkyrie Chronicles. And Belatro, I did play Belatro, so, I mean, again, I don't understand why Belatro got so much hype. To me, it is like just one of many, many roguelikes that came out this year. But yeah, some people say, oh, it's better than all the other roguelikes. Well, it's poker. I get it, but I mean, there's so many roguelikes that came out this year. Belatro, yeah, it might be more polished than a lot of the other roguelikes that came out this year, but Game of the Year, I'm not sure. Because there's so many games that came out this year that I think had way more time, dev time put into it than Belatro. Personally, I'm not saying bad things about Belatro, but it's just like, I think there's better deserving games that have more dev time put into it, right? I mean, just, this to me is just, it's a good roguelike, but there's a lot of roguelikes that came out this year. Let's see. Skull, yeah, that's a Metrovania. These are all just kind of mid. Animal Well, yeah, this one is, this one actually got some nominations, I think, because it was kind of this Metrovania that isn't like other Metrovanias because it's not too much combat in it. It's just, yeah, it's more like Discovery-ish and about the atmospheric, I guess. But anyways, Animal Well's good. It's different than other Metrovanias, but I don't know about Game of the Year though. Let's see, the other ones, it's just okay. Magic the Gathering Arena, yeah. I didn't realize I played that. Savage Ravestia, yeah. Okay, yep. All the others are not that memorable to me. Let's look at June. Elden Ring, yep, played a lot of that. VR Chat, Riven remake. So Riven is the classic sequel to Myst from the 90s. I'm glad that it got a VR remake because I always thought that the Myst series should be in VR. Like, it's just natural, right? Like, the Myst series is already so good as a point-and-click adventure from first-person perspective. I mean, it's just natural to make a VR series. And Riven is considered by many to be the best of the Myst series. So, anyways, that's a great remake. Now, until then, I've talked about this a lot. One of my favorite indie adventure games. Go check it out, guys. If you haven't checked out Until Then. I think this should be Game of the Year nomination, to be honest. Subnautica is great. I love this. It reminds me of Outer Wilds, but in a underwater instead of outer space. And it's great in VR. So, thing is, Outer Wilds should be in VR too. I don't know why Outer Wilds is not in VR, but Subnautica VR was great. It's a survival game, and you can have an entire world underwater. You can explore. It's great. Highly recommended. RoboCop Roof City is okay. Thaumaturge, yeah, it's this RPG. It was okay. Below Zero, not as good as Subnautica, but it's alright, but not as good as the original Subnautica. I think people are still waiting for Subnautica 2, like a real sequel. This is not really a real sequel. RuneScape. Yeah, I did play a bit of RuneScape. Very old school. This is pretty good. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. If you guys are looking for an isometric RPG, Rogue Trader is not bad. Not sure if it would make my top 30, but it's not bad. I think it deserves a bit more love. Whispers in the Moss is pretty good. Very unique retro style RPG. So yeah, very retro style. I think it's like the go back to the 80s style. No Rest for the Wicked. Again, I think this is the isometric RPG there. Consortium VR again. Bramble the Mountain King is pretty good from a venture perspective. It's got that what is it, Ori and the Will of the Wisp type of vibe to it. This is a Zelda clone, Oceanhorn 2, Floppy Knights. Oh, that's a deck builder roguelike, I think. Sounds of Silence. Haven. Haven's not bad. Kind of reminds me of Sable. If you guys know Sable, that's open world, cartoony aesthetic. Haven kind of reminds me of Sable. Moonstone, this is kind of another Stardew Valley clone. Space Rangers HD, actually that's not too bad. Scald is pretty good. I think this one actually might make my top 30. Scald Against the Black Priori. Really nice retro style RPG. Really like that one. Capes. Inscription is pretty good as a card game. It's like another deck building game, but it's pretty good. And one of the better deck building games I played actually, which is saying a lot because I played a lot this year. Let's see, Proteus. I remember this being a retro shooter. Banner of the Maid Colony Ship. Banner Saga. Yep, this is like another strategy game here. See, this is another talking about. With Blade Trail, you have Solitarica as well. That's kind of like Blade Trail, except instead of poker, it's solitaire. And nobody talks about it. So why does everyone talk about Blade Trail so much? There's a lot of games like it. Bingo Bingo's another one. This is a... Yeah, it's just like it's like Blade Trail, except it's with a roulette instead of poker, but nobody talks about it. So I don't get why Blade Trail's talked about so much more than these ones. These are also like same type of game. They're also pretty polished, in my opinion. Anyways, Sulaco's good. I like this game. It's kind of like it's really like it's like one of those 90s first-person shooters. So it's really got that kind of charm to it and feel. So it's like those build engine games from back then, like Shadow Warrior, except you play as you play as a girl, but yeah, it's kind of like that. Got that Duke Nukem 3D Shadow Warrior type of vibe to it. Nice. Let's see what else is interesting here. Zoria kind of reminds me of Warhammer Rogue Trader. Valhalla, I did play a little bit of this, although I love Valhalla. This is one of my favorite. I guess it's called a visual novel. I would probably classify it as a visual novel, but I love this game. Played it a lot back in the day. I didn't realize I played it this year though. But yeah, I beat this game many times. Love this game, Valhalla. I don't know what happened with the sequel. Hope the developers get to make a sequel, but so far I haven't seen anything from it. What else here? Rogue Prince of Persia. There's actually 2 Prince of Persia games that came out this year. Lost Crown and then Rogue Prince of Persia. So they got to make a Metroidvania Prince of Persia, and they got to make a roguelike Prince of Persia. It's just to capitalize on the 2 kind of gaming trends going on. Right, got to have a Metroidvania, got to have a roguelike. So Shovel Knight Dig, played a bit of that. Dragon Slayers 2. Spider-Man Remastered. I think I did. I played some of this as part of a review video, I think I might have done that. Because Spider-Man Remastered, I would not have usually played that, because Spider-Man 2 I think is just better. And that came out last year. But yeah, July. What did I play in July? Of course, I played a bunch of Far Cry 5, my friend. Elden Ring, my brother. Showgunners. I think this is a turn-based strategy game. Turn Vector, Escalation. I played Raptor Call of the Shadows. I don't remember that. That's a really old-school DOS game. What else is good from here? If I don't say anything, that means it wasn't that great for me. Most of these games are very mid. Most of these games are pretty mid. I don't remember too much from these. I mean, VVV is good. This one, not this one. This one's come kind of fake. This one is a pretty, it's simple but difficult and challenging. Wow, I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Why did I do that? Mafia Definitive Edition. Huh, that must have been for testing something. Anyways, most of the games I played that month was mid. August. What did I play in August? Oh, Prince of Chin. Yeah, surprisingly, I didn't know about this game until recently, but this is like a 2002 isometric RPG, which is set in ancient China, which is a pretty cool setting. Yeah, not bad, actually. Arksy wasn't bad. Kind of like It's kind of like, reminds me of Into the Breach, actually, I think. And that was a great indie game, too. Fate Stay Night, it's a visual novel. It's okay. Pathfinder. I think this was another isometric RPG, but wasn't very memorable. No Nary games. Shadows of Doubt was pretty good. This is kind of like a voxel art, I think. It's done, like, I think the one I remember the most is Cloudpunk, because I love Cloudpunk. Another great indie game to check out, by the way. So kind of remind me of Cloudpunk, but in the art style, of course. The actual game itself is more like an investigative adventure game. But it actually surprised me what you can do in this one, because it's pretty open world. You can go into any apartment building and just go into an apartment and stuff. Everything's done in this voxel pixel art. Pretty good, actually, Shadows of Doubt. Yeah, I like that Cloudpunk kind of art style, which is another great game too. World of Horror, pretty interesting aesthetic. It's got this 80s Japanese computer game aesthetic to it, black and white style. And it's involving some, it's an RPG adventure, but horror as well. So you get to do some investigation and stuff. Just really cool art style. It's got that 80s aesthetic to it. Really unique art style. So anyways, I like that one. Pony Island as well. Very, this is a very satirical, I would say. Unconventional and satirical type of game. So if you guys are looking for something really interesting and unique, check out Pony Island. This is like a horror type of game, but it's it breaks like the fourth wall a lot. Like this game is like, yeah, it's very unconventional, unique. I'm just gonna say that. Tries to really play with you a lot. Very meta. So anyways, both World of Horror and Pony Island are pretty good. Again, for me, I find both of these games much more interesting than Bellatrio. Just me. Even Fields of Mystria, right? That game has something as well. Though it's kind of just another Stardew Valley clone. What else? I played Devil May Cry. I even played Among Us a bit. Yep. I remember because I didn't get to... Yeah, I didn't play Among Us on my channel, so I had to do that. Path of Exile. Path of Exile 2 is out now. Path of Exile 2 is not going to show up on this list because I didn't play it yet. But I do have it in my backlog. Alright, September. Yeah, so Path of Exile 2, I think I'm going to check it out soon. And then before I continue with the ranking. Because I know that came out this year and I have it in my backlog to play. Alright, so Black Myth Wukong, like I said, this is probably my Game of the Year nomination because it's so great. First of all, Unreal Engine 5, the graphics are amazing. Probably one of the best looking games I've ever seen. The artistic style, amazing. If you like the God of War style cinematics, you have that here. But it's done in ancient China, right? So it's got the ancient Chinese mythology stuff added to it, which is great. It's kind of like a sequel to Journey to the West almost. Not really the same story because it doesn't actually involve Sun Wukong. Like you're playing kind of as a successor, so it's not really Sun Wukong but his successor. And yeah, love this game. The combat is good. It's very fluid. It's kind of like, it's not really like Souls-like. People call this like a Souls-like game, but it's not really Souls-like because, well, first of all, you don't get any respawn penalty like you do in a Souls-like. So it's a little bit easier than Souls-like that way, but it's also hard as well because the boss design is great. It's kind of like a FromSoft, right? They got boss design, but I think it's also a little bit more varied than some of the FromSoft boss designs, which is saying a lot, I guess, because FromSoft is known for their boss designs, but even Wukong, I think, has really good boss designs too. The combat's very fluid, and I think better than the combat in FromSoft games, because FromSoft games, a lot of it's kind of repetitive. You gotta like keep dodging or parrying. So it's kind of like a rhythm game where you're just like dodging and parrying all the time. But in Wukong, you don't just dodge and parry. And you have 2 levels of dodges, one of which is a perfect dodge. And you can also parry as well. But the thing is, you have a skill tree. And you also have shape-shifting mechanics, which allow you to use different spells and attacks and stuff. So that you can change it up better than you can in, say, Elden Ring. So Elden Ring, in order to change up your attack, you actually have to switch weapons. Each of the weapons take like a different build, so most of the time you can't really change up your attacks that much in Elden Ring. It's more like you do the rhythm game stuff, you dodge and then you parry, you go in for your attack, you hit with your attack, and you go back. You might use a different spell, but overall not that much variation in FromSoft combat. But in Wukong, you actually get to change up your combat a lot because you have a skill tree and different shape-shifting mechanics and stuff. So anyways, I like it actually. The combat I think is actually better than FromSoft games. Graphics are just as good and maybe better, boss design is just as good or better. And yeah, overall, people should check it out. It just doesn't have the open world of Elden Ring, but hey, I would say at least you can say that it's probably better than Bloodborne or Sekiro and those types of games, because those games are also linear, but they don't have the combat that Wukong has, the variety of combat. So I know that people might be kind of shocked to hear that, but I like it better than Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Dark Souls, but that's just me. Warhammer Space Marine 2, I like this better than Helldivers 2. It's kind of like Helldivers 2, but in the Warhammer universe, and I like it better. It's like Gears of War, actually. Helldivers or Gears of War, whatever you want to compare that to, but I like Space Marine better than both, actually. I even like it better than Gears 5, which I played recently. Age of Mythology Retold, yeah. Surprisingly, we got an Age of Mythology remake this year, and it's Age of Mythology. What can I say? I love Age of Mythology, one of my favorite RTS games. Again, kind of a game that it's a game that got like overlooked this year because there's other. I mean, partly because it's a remake, but it's also not like a really high-profile remake either, and it came for free. Like, it's people who had Age of Mythology just got it for free. So, anyways, I think that's probably why it slipped under the radar. But I like it. Age of Mythology is great. My favorite RTS games. Galaxy's End is cool. Played a little bit of that. I mean, yeah, again, so many indie games this year I played, right? So this is probably one of the better ones. Rise of the Golden Idol. I think this one is actually pretty good as well. It's one of those investigative. Yeah, one of those investigative games, almost like a visual novel, but it's more investigation based. Pretty solid. Beyond Shadowgate. Did not realize that there was a Shadowgate sequel that came out this year, but Beyond Shadowgate's there, and yeah, actually, it's just done in the same style as the original Shadowgate. So if you like the original Shadowgate, you'll definitely like this one's. I think it's pretty solid, and again, another one that got overlooked this year. Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. Play that a bit. Fading Afternoon. Pretty good, actually. I like this one as well. It's another indie game that got overlooked this year. Like I said, so many great indie games out there, guys. Not just Animal Well and Bellatro. Fading Afternoon, another good one. You just walk around and do your thing. It's kind of like almost like it's Yakuza, but in a 2D style. I would say. Caves of Cut is good. This one is another roguelike that's been in development for a long time. But that's a pretty solid one. Very retro. Case of the Golden Idol, similar to Rise of the Golden Idol. Mirthwoods, kind of open world survival. Grim Dawn. That's kind of like Diablo, I guess. I did not realize that there was a Yars' Revenge sequel, but yeah, Yars' Revenge, the old school Atari game, got a sequel this year. Most people probably don't know about that. Aliens Fireteam Elite, it's pretty solid. A little bit repetitive sometimes, but pretty solid. Amazing Witcher, El Tavern. Detention is it's a pretty solid horror game. Kind of reminds me of Coma, that Korean horror game that I played as well. So it reminds me of Coma, but yeah, Detention's not bad. Oh, I played Gunbound, didn't I? Actually, no, it's Gunfire. Why does it remind me of... Kind of reminds me of Gunbound, the characters. Hong Kong Massacre. Oh, that game's really hard. Frustrating, too. Hands on Necromancy 2. I played the original and the sequel this year. God of War of 2018. I think that was for benchmarking. Okay, October. What do we got? I played more Sucker for Love. Okay, and more Wukong. Silent Hill 2 remake. Pretty solid. I think as far as remakes go, you have a lot of great horror remakes that came out these last 2 years, right? Last year you had Dead Space remake, System Shock remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, Alan Wake 2, and Alan Wake remake. And then this year you have Alone in the Dark remake and Silent Hill 2 remake. You got a lot of horror remakes coming out these days. Silent Hill 2 is very solid, though. I mean, as a pure horror game, like psychological horror game, I think Silent Hill 2 is really up there. So, yeah, this remake is really the way to check it out, I think. I didn't play the original. Didn't have a PS2 to play it, but yeah, the remake's really good. Row 96, talked about this already. I like it. Same thing, Sure in the Cold Town. Talked about this already. Good slice of life type game. Once Human, I think this is another open world crafting game that's just okay. It's another, yeah. There's a lot of these open world crafting games coming out these days as well. Thousand X Resist, talked about this, loved it. Another great indie game that I think should be nominated for Game of the Year. Crimson Diamond, I loved it. Talked about this already. It's like this old school. It's a new game, but it's done in the old school like 90s Sierra style point and click adventure. So yeah, like King's Quest, Space Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, that style, and I really like that one. Metal Gear Solid Remaster, Since Memories. I think this one was just kind of boring for me. Starstruck, I talked about this already. Another great indie RPG or adventure game. I think that should be talked about more. It's got this Guitar Hero rhythm mini game inside of it. Done really well. The art style is also pretty unique as well. So liked it. Access Unseen, yeah. This game, I think I talked about all these games already because yeah, they were part of that streak, I guess. Yeah, Access Unseen, kind of this open world survival game. Amnesia Dark Descent, pretty solid horror game, I would say. Some people call this one of the best horror games ever. I'm not sure. I think Silent Hill 2 Remake is still better, but anyways, Amnesia Dark Descent's good too. Clock Tower Rewind. I would actually consider Clock Tower Rewind like one of my favorite horror games. Also really good. Hokkaido Serial Murder Case, yeah, and the Famicom Detective Club style. Let's see. What else is interesting here? Oh, even played a bit of Settlers 7. Yep, that's pretty much it for those October and November. Parkitect, yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon style. Like it's like the isometric Roller Coaster Tycoon style, if that makes sense. The 3D Roller Coaster Tycoon style is like you play Planet Coaster for that. But then if you like the Roller Coaster 1 and 2, Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2 is like isometric. So then Parkitect is kind of like the spiritual successor to that style. Yeah, so if you like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, then you play Planet Coaster. If you like Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2, then play Parkitect. That makes sense. Psychonauts 2, surprisingly good. It's kind of like Ratchet and Clank type of humorous platformer. I like it. Satisfactory, I actually really like this one as well. It's just another open world survival crafting game, but it's done a lot better than the others. I think it's really done really well. Astroneer, I think it's an open world survival crafting one, but not quite as good as Satisfactory. Sengoku Dynasty, actually not bad. Another open world survival crafting game, but done in feudal Japan. So you have that setting as well. Metal Slug Tactics, surprisingly good for a tactical version of Metal Slug. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I know this was nominated for some Game of the Year awards. You need to put a lot of time into figuring out the puzzles in this one, though. So if you do put in your time into it, though, I think it could be quite rewarding. So, anyways, yeah, it's more like an investigative style and point-and-click adventure, essentially. Pathologic 2, actually pretty good. That's like a horror game. Dustland Delivery, that's a simulation game, I believe. Generation Zero, yeah, I remember a bit about that one. What else? Nine Souls, Solid Metrovania, Blaze Blue, Chrono. Oh, that's a Continuum Shift. Okay, Fallout Shelter, played a bit of that. What else? 5 Day Detective. Oh, okay, yeah. No, that was done because of someone asked me to do that one. It's okay. I was thinking of another detective game I played this year. And yeah, December I didn't play that much because it's only counting like 2 weeks of December. Maid Cafe on Electric Street, I think it's done pretty well. Nice pixelated aesthetic. Another one that isn't on here, but I'm not sure why. It's called 2 Pixelia. I think maybe because the game hasn't been released yet, but 2 Pixelia is really good as well. That was kind of like another life simulation type of game. Kind of like The Sims, actually, but done in this retro 2D style. I'm pretty sure I played that one this year, but it doesn't show up here. But Maid Cafe on Electric Street, yeah, it's like kind of like a maid cafe management type game, but also you have like this other life simulation, social simulation stuff going on. You know, done in a Japanese setting, of course. It was pretty good. And Breath of Death 7, again, another remake I did not expect coming out this year for Breath of Death 7. But if you like old school RPGs, but a more satirical kind, then check it out. Wizardom is fun. This is kind of like a Hexen or Heretic, I think. Like Hexen or Heretic, old school FPS style. Redneck Rampage Rise again. Yeah, for some reason I didn't get to play this before, so I finally got to play it. Loved Redneck Rampage though. It's a nice build engine FPS game from back in the DOS days, so I played that. Anyways, yeah, that's just a little run through of all the games I played this year, 2024. On Steam only, of course. I'm not even counting all the games I played on Switch and PlayStation and Epic. But yeah, played a lot of games this year. So this is just kind of like a prelude to my top 30 ranking. So just looking at my Steam replay first, and then we'll go on to my top 30 ranking for the games, my top games of 2024. I think my criteria is the game has to be actually like released in 2024. Like I played a lot of demos this year that are not actually going to release this year, but maybe next year or the year after. So I can't count those games unfortunately because they're not actually technically released yet. So I can't count a lot of the games I liked, like 2 Pixelia for example. I can't count that; it hasn't been released yet. Or Deltarune. Deltarune's a great game that is not officially released yet, unfortunately. I think that's why it hasn't shown up either. But yeah, Deltarune is made by the same guy who made Undertale. And I like it better than Undertale, actually. So I can't count Deltarune or 2 Pixelia, those kind of games. And I think there was another indie adventure game called Afterlove EP, and I played the demo. Really like that one as well, but again, that one is not coming out this year, so I can't put it on my list, unfortunately. I think that was similar to Until Then in some ways, which is a good thing. So yeah, I liked Afterlove EP as well, but unfortunately I can't put it on this list. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of games I do like a lot, but they're not going to come out this year. So I can't count those games. So it has to be only games that came out this year. So anyways, just wait for my top 30, guys. Stay tuned. Top 30, guys. Top 30 games that came out in 2024. And this is my personal ranking, of course. Not saying it's objective or anything. It's my subjective ranking based on what I played and what I like. So, anyways, that's it, guys. Stay tuned. Alright, I'm going to start off my top 30 actually with an honorable mention, and that's going to be Dragon's Dogma 2 by Capcom. And I know this game is going to rank higher for a lot of people because it's objectively, you know, it deserves to be on this list, actually in the top 30. However, this is my personal list, right? I don't have to go based off of you know, objective greatness or whatever. I know this game is great, it's polished, it's done well. I mean, people who are fans of the first Dragon's Dogma will like this game as well. And people who are fans of Monster Hunter will like this game too, because basically it has a similar combat to Monster Hunter. Just instead of hunting monsters, you're just yeah, you're fighting basically it doesn't have the structure of Monster Hunter, right? We're fighting big monsters, but it's more of like this more standard open world type RPG. But still, those of you guys who like Monster Hunter or even Souls-like games will appreciate Dragon's Dogma 2. Just for me, it doesn't quite make the list because honestly, I think I got tired of these kind of games a little bit. It might be fatigue or something like that. I played just a lot of these open world RPGs recently. So, yeah, so this one doesn't really stand out as much to me. Like, just recently I played 2 of these Chinese open world RPGs that I like this. The Sword and Fairy 7, I think, and Shenyang Sword 7. So there's a lot of games that I like this right now. I know Dragon's Dogma 2 has the combat down, and it's, you know, it's Capcom. They obviously polished the gameplay. But yeah, it just doesn't stand out quite as much for me because there's just been a lot of these open world RPGs. I mean, I played a lot of them. I guess this one just doesn't really stand out as much to me. Oh yeah, Forspoken, that's another one that really people, I think, just flew over people's heads, right? It's another open world RPG. A lot of these open world action RPGs, really, that are out there. I think even Dynasty Warriors Origins, even that one, like, you can kind of call open world RPG as well. Action RPG. The line is sort of blurring between hack and slash and action RPGs these days. So like especially Final Fantasy 16, which I would consider half hack and slash, half action RPG, really. But yeah, it's kind of a mix of both these days. Anyways, Dragon's Dogma 2 is an honorable mention because it just doesn't stand out as much to me because there's a lot of these open world action RPGs out there these days. So yeah, anyways, it does make my honorable mention because I do want to talk about it, and I know people's going to ask, oh, where's Dragon's Dogma 2 on your list, right? It's a great game. Yeah, I know. Anyways, doesn't quite make my list, but it will. I will put it as in my honor. Okay, so another game I want to mention is Me Side or My Side. So this is an indie game that is pretty interesting because on the surface it appears like kind of like a dating simulator type game where you talk to this girl and you're trying to get her affection. And she's actually this virtual girl in an app, but then you get sucked into the app and then you actually you're actually in her world.
Gonna expect anything to
in the first person perspective here. But it's really interesting. I didn't really get through the
I'm expecting this
the really interesting bits in this playthrough here, but later on it gets really interesting because it becomes very horror-like later on. So I really have to give props to this game for being quite different, actually. So yeah, in the beginning you're just like, you know, it's all happy, you're talking to this cute anime girl and everything. But then it gets more and more like creepy and horror-like as it goes on, kind of like Doki
Why is it
Doki
in the
Literature
bathroom?
Club, where it's like at the beginning it's like a nice dating sim, but then
Scissors.
later
I
on
usually
it
put
becomes
scissors
more
in the
horror.
kitchen.
That's
Okay.
basically what this game is like, except this is like from a first-person perspective and not just a visual novel. So yeah, it's very interesting. I would say that as you continue playing this game, this is just the first playthrough I did of this game isn't too interesting, but as you do subsequent playthroughs, you understand that it gets crazier and
following me?
crazier, and more horror stuff happens.
Oh, shit.
So
Loading.
like here, it's not really. I'm not really loading that
It
part of
really
the.
didn't load in
I mean,
time.
my computer's not actually loading
Wait a
that
bit
part of the
longer.
game. This loading screen is part of the game.
Okay.
So it's like it's meant to be there because it's like stuff is changing around all the time, and she has absolute control over this world that she's in. Anyways, really cool concept.
It's
I actually
very
really wanted to
meta.
put this in my top 30 list, but yeah, just the first playthrough I would say is a little bit boring in a
Things are
sense. That's why
constantly changing in this
if you
world.
keep doing the playthroughs, you'll get more interesting. But just the first playthrough was not quite as interesting for me, I guess, compared to the other games on this list. But yeah, definitely it's a game that I want to mention because it's a really cool, unique game. Yeah, it's one of these games where you're in
sure.
this
I like video
virtual playhouse of this
PlayStation,
anime girl, and
PS4,
eventually
yeah,
it becomes like a horror game, and she becomes more and more creepy. So
Yeah,
as
definitely
you
looks like a
continue playing
PS4
through it.
controller.
Also, I think this game
With the
could have been done
touchscreen in
really
the
well in
middle.
VR. I just think that it should
Milk
have been a VR
scandal.
game, but anyways, it's an interesting horror game nonetheless. So it's
Penguin
not your typical
snowballs
horror
or
vibes.
milk
It's
scandal.
cutesy horror vibes. It's like, yeah, like Doki Doki Literature Club. It's like,
Sure,
or even
Penguin
World End
Snowball.
Syndrome. It's like, yeah, dating sim turned horror, I should say. So that's unique in that sense. So I do want to mention it. Okay, so kind of a late addition to this video, but I did want to talk about this game because I just played it recently and really loved it. And this game is called Fallen Aces. And yeah, this is it's
like
a
this
film
recreation,
noir
whatever this,
first-person shooter
city.
game.
I mean,
well, it's not really too much of a
maybe
shooter,
it's
but it's
supposed to
still
be
like a
based on
first-person
1940s New
action
York
game.
or something like that,
But yeah, it's
or Las
it's
Vegas,
really
maybe?
unique. It's got
Maybe
this
1940s New York or Las
comic
Vegas.
book style. Like it's got like a
Pretty
1940s comic book style to it.
noir type look here.
Very film noir type look to it. Just love the aesthetic of this game, honestly.
It's nothing.
Really nice. And yeah, I just
classic
found out about
yellow
this game
caps. Must be
recently,
like New
so
York
that's why it's kind of
based
like a
on
late
New York
addition to
photos.
this video. I don't know actually where to rank in this
Full
video,
muscle.
and I don't want to redo this
Smoke
video
that
over
shit.
again, so I'm just going to put it as an honorable mention. But it would probably, if I were to remake the whole list, it will probably be on the actual list. But it's just, I don't want to redo the list over again. I'm kind of lazy about that. But still, I did want to mention this game, because this is probably one of the more interesting games I played. That's from 2024. Yeah, it's called Fallen Aces. You guys can see here that it has this
Where else can I go?
the cell shaded comic book aesthetic to it. You have like different weapons and stuff that I think mostly is
Cars.
melee
That's a
weapons for now. I
1940s
mean,
style
it's
car.
still a shooter because you can pick up guns and stuff later on. But
No.
yeah, for
Not
the
a
beginning of the
50s
game
style
here, I
car,
just
that's
have mostly melee weapons, and then see the guys here, this like mobsters and gangsters that come after you. Just really unique aesthetic, and I love the film noir look. I love film noirs actually in general. I love the old 1940s, 1950s type movies, and this game really kind of captures that, and also just makes it fun. It's got the cartoony, cel shaded aesthetic, the whole film noir vibe to it. Overall, just yeah, really nice game. So I do have to mention it. Didn't talk about this game before because I just played this game recently, but I do have to put it on this list because I do like it a lot. So yeah, this is Fallen Aces. Yeah, be sure to check it out, guys, because if you guys like film noirs and 1940s like detective comic books, stuff like that, this game is really just that. You're playing like it's like a 1940s detective novel, a comic book come to life. Yeah, really nice. Alright, so starting off at number 30, I'm going to go with The Hungry Lamb. So this is a visual novel that is set in the late Ming Dynasty in a
Rations.
time
I wonder what kind of
that's very
rations they had back
difficult,
then.
I would say, for most of the
What would people- what would
living in
the
China.
Chinese people
Like
be
there's
eating at that
famines
time?
going on, and I guess cannibalism as well, and as you guys can see in this game. Yeah, so basically, what happens in this game is it's a very dark game, I would say, because
She's a
it
kidnapped
really
miss, you didn't
shows you
complain.
what the
Yeah,
late
she's
Ming
the only one
Dynasty was
that's
like,
kidnapped.
basically.
So
in terms
technically,
of
she would be the
people
one
were
that would be
desperate.
most in.
People were desperate for
at risk
food.
of running away.
They couldn't afford to eat. They had to actually eat each other. Actually, they had to resort to cannibalism. And in this case, you play the role of a guy who has to traffic these young girls to
Yeah,
this
the mute
kind of
girl
wealthy,
looks like she was pretty much malnourished.
this wealthy
so-
monster, and I think he is depicted as a monster in this game who eats young girls, and yeah, for money.
What's up?
And that's really kind of I mean, it's kind of
Mystical poop
disturbing,
can hold it.
but also it's reflective of what went on back in the day, because like
drink,
we're talking
pee,
about
poop.
hundreds of years ago. Yeah, like people really had a hard life, I should say. Like people are kind of spoiled by today because you have so many modern conveniences and you have access to the supermarket and everything. And if you live in a developed country, you don't really have too much fear of going hungry. But back in the day, right, you're living under an
wanna do it for
emperor, you're
anybody.
living under a king or a queen, and the majority of people, like the peasants, like they did not have a good life, and you had to deal with war and famine most of the time. And yeah, I think this visual novel is really showing exactly like
I should kill you no matter
I think
what
it's
you say.
it's a bit too real, basically. But I also like this visual novel because it pulls no punches, you know. It really pulls no punches. I mean, this main girl in the story here, who pretends to be mute, because she really, yeah, she basically is feigning her. She wants people to think that she isn't intelligent or doesn't know what's going on, but actually she knows exactly what's going on, and she's just a young kid, but she was forced to grow up very quickly because of her circumstances, right? Of really her family being poor
girl
and
that,
starving and unable to
Even
eat.
in
And she had to deal with that and really grow up quickly, even though she's just like 11 years old. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just the way it was back then. Like, back when you were a peasant and you had to deal with famine and war all the time, like, kids had to grow up quickly. They were forced to grow up quickly because they saw their parents, like, die and be killed and stuff, and it wasn't very pleasant. And in this game, you actually see cannibals.
they're like zombies.
People
Shit,
trying
the
to
zombie.
eat young girls and stuff. Like, that's disturbing, but it's what happened back then. You know, it's so this game is a bit real, for sure. Pulls no punches or anything, but I highly recommend it because first of all, the setting, the unique setting of the late Ming Dynasty, which you don't really see in many visual novels or anything, and yeah, the fact that it is so real. Like, it really doesn't try to, like, it's not one of those visual novels that's like, oh, you know, slice of life and dating simulator and everything's happy. No, it's not like that. This is it's a dark visual
Part of the
novel, and it
dowry.
really deals with the
kid was
grim
eat-
reality of ancient China in a period where the Ming Dynasty was really starting to go down and being able to take over by the Qing Dynasty. This happened in many areas of China, you know. Back in ancient China, you had a few dynasties like Han Dynasty or Tang
similar, right?
Dynasty,
So you were-
or the early Ming Dynasty or early Qing Dynasty. Well, yeah, the people were well off
meal a
generally,
day.
but you also have a lot of areas of China,
That's
like
not a lot.
Three Kingdoms era, for example, is very famous. Romance of Three Kingdoms, right? But actually, that era was full of bloodshed. All the warlords and everything. Every time a dynasty changes, it's because people were unhappy. So yeah, and you had wars going on like all the time back then, invading Mongols, invading Manchus and Jurchens and Khitans and whatnot. So you had people dying all the time back then, people starving and people dying all the time. And yeah, this novel is it's very realistic in that sense. It shows you like, hey, life was not very good in the ancient times. You know, you really had to watch out for yourself. People
This
died all
girl,
the time
man.
from diseases and from starvation
Yeah,
and
she's
from war.
definitely like more mature
And
than her age.
and yeah, I like that part of this visual novel. The fact that it's so realistic. It's not like, I mean, there's fantasy aspects of this visual novel. I can tell because the main guy is like
She's
some
like
kind of
checking me
demon,
out.
but
She's like 11.
other than that, it is kind of realistic in the sense that, oh, this is how life was like back in the day, right? It's not it's not a great life for most people back then, unless you were like king or emperor. But even then, like, you still like got killed, you know, sometimes. So yeah, life was really not great back then for most people. So yeah, and this novel really exposes that. So yeah, that's why I really like The Hungry Lamb. It's definitely emotionally impactful, and yeah, shows you guys exactly what's going on back in the ancient times when people died all the time. Really, you had kids that died all the time, children, women, guys, like, yeah, war, famine, disease, people just died so often back then. So it's, yeah, how life was like in the ancient times. Not just in China, but across the world, I think. Really makes you appreciate living modern life, you know? We have like an average lifespan above 30 years old. Back then, it's like the average lifespan was like 30 years old back then. And then when you had a kid, half your kids died, and your wife died during pregnancy, you know, when she was giving birth. It's like your wife can die from childbirth. You gave birth to like 8 kids, and half of them died before they turned 2 years old. Like, it was a horrible life back then for most people. And yeah, this visual novel really exposes how harsh that life was back then. Alright, so my number 29 pick is going to be Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2, which is a horror visual novel that's been released, and it's a sequel to Spirit Hunter Deathmark 1, of course. But what you have to know about this game is that there's actually 2 different aspects of this game. First, you have the first-person investigative type. That part of the game where you kind of look around, and you can see that here, right? You can just talk to the people here. So you talk to people, and then also you can look around, do some investigating and stuff. So this is one of the different parts of the gameplay of this game. The other part is as a side scroller. So yeah, basically you can do like yeah, it's a side-scrolling part of the game, of this part of the gameplay, where you just walk around and you look for essentially the spooky monsters and stuff. I don't know if I want to call them ghosts. They're just kind of Japanese-type monsters. Pretty horrifying, actually. So if you guys are looking for a nice horror visual novel, I recommend you check this one out. So there's some investigation going on in this game, and there's also the horror aspect, right? So definitely there's some creepy imagery in this game, as you would expect from Japanese horror. So there's that exists in the game. Like, okay, here, look at this, the bunch of wires tied up. I think the school principal here, and then you gotta, yeah, you need to do something about it and stuff. So yeah, and then you do some more investigation here. So yeah, if you guys are interested in kind of investigative visual novels and also horror visual novels, this one kind of combines both, right? As you do some investigation, and then there's also horror aspects in this game as well. So anyways, I enjoyed playing this game. Found it very creepy as well. But you have the creepy aspect and you have the investigative aspect of this game. So anyways, it's my number 29 pick is Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2.
Cover a picture.
Okay, so my number 28 pick is pretty similar to Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2 in some sense. It's actually Coma 2B Catacomb. This is a Korean horror game. It's not a visual novel, but it's kind of like an adventure game. This part basically plays similar to the side-scrolling part of Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2. So basically, you're just always in the side-scrolling gameplay, but in this one, I actually prefer it to the other Coma games. So there's actually 2 Coma games, I think, released before this. But I like this one better because this one actually has more of an adventure aspect to it. The other Coma games were just running away from zombies, basically. Kind of like that game Detention, which is kind of this Taiwanese horror game as well. In a sense, that game as well, which I played. But in this one, I like this one better than the other Coma games because it's more of an adventure aspect. It's not just about the horror. Of course, this game does have horror, but in this one, I believe the main character Young-ho, he repeats the day, like basically all the time, and he tries to figure out what's going on, and then eventually he finds out, you know, obviously something's wrong, and yeah, so you see a bunch of like weird, creepy stuff going on, reminiscent of Japanese horrors. And yeah, what I do like about this one is, like I said, is not just focused on the horror. The first 2 Coma games was just focused on the horror, so you just had to run away from the creepy zombies, basically, and the killers, similar to Detention. But this one, you do have that aspect. You have to run away from you know, the monsters, but it doesn't happen as often because it's more like it's more focused on exploration as well. So it's more like you have the adventure aspect and exploration aspect, and then you also have the horror aspect of running away from the monsters and stuff in addition to that. So I like the fact that this game focuses more on the adventure aspect as well, not just the horror. Anyways, Coma 2B Catacomb gonna be my number 28 pick. I think it's a pretty solid horror adventure game. Okay, my number 27 pick is Maid Cafe on Electric Street. It's another indie game I played and I quite enjoyed it. It's another cozy game, I would say. It's another relaxing game to play. So, you know, nothing creepy or horrific goes on this one. But I like the art style. You know, it's based on Japan, right? As you guys can see, there's that sign there. That's a famous sign in Osaka of the guy raising their arms, except there's a cat in this one. So it's very Japanese inspired, and I mean, you're managing a maid cafe, so of course that's Japan inspired. But yeah, I like the pixelated aesthetic, very charming. It's a very cozy game to play, nice game to relax with. In this game, you kind of like, you know, try to recruit maids and yeah, try to manage a successful maid cafe. So yeah, you try to recruit maids, manage a successful maid cafe, and also you're just kind of doing stuff around the street here, Electric Street, that has a bunch of Japanese stuff, Japanese stories in it. So yeah. So anyways, I find this game very cozy, very nice to play. So yeah, this is going to be my number 27 pick. Is Maid Cafe on Electric Street. Nice cozy Japanese maid cafe management game. 26 is going to be Metal Slug Tactics. Actually, yeah, this game is pretty interesting because I bet not many people expected there to be a tactical game based on Metal Slug, but there is, and it's actually quite solid. Yeah, like Metal Slug is a franchise based on, essentially it's a run and gun shooter, right? Run and gun shoot 'em up. But yeah, like, does it translate well into a tactical RPG type of game? Well, it actually does, I think. So this one actually did a lot better than I thought. Like, at first when I thought they was going to make a tactical version of Metal Slug, I was like, how's that going to work, right? It's a run and gun shoot 'em up. But the tactical version actually works pretty well. It's fairly challenging, but it forces you to make like nice strategic decisions. Actually reminds me a bit of Into the Breach, which is always a good thing because I love Into the Breach. It's an XCOM and those types of games, right? A lot of strategy in those types of games. So it's not just your typical tactical RPG where you're just like, okay, move your unit here, do this, do that, end your turn. This one you actually have to think tactically because it's actually quite challenging. So if you don't think tactically enough, then you're just going to lose. So, and it's a roguelike too. So if you lose, you got to start all the way over and do a new run. So, so yeah, it actually does force you to think pretty tactically. And yeah, in my opinion, I think this is a very solid tactical game. So Metal Slug Tactics, surprisingly, right? Guess like you wouldn't expect a tactical Metal Slug game to be that good, but I actually think this is surprisingly very solid and very well executed, I think.
Oh my god,
All right, number 25 is going to be Marvel Rivals. This is a free-to-play game, and it's pretty much Overwatch actually, except with Marvel heroes. And yeah, I mean, it's basically Overwatch, but it's done well, and it's a good concept actually, because you think about hero-based shooter games, and you know, Marvel heroes are just superheroes. It's logical, right? And logical to make a game, a hero-based shooter. Well, why not just make them comic book heroes, right? So I think this is like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. So you take Overwatch and you add in Marvel heroes, and it's pretty much guaranteed to be good, right? I mean, they were the superheroes, right? The Marvel heroes are kind of made for this kind of game. So yeah, you get to choose like from a large array of Marvel heroes, and the gameplay is pretty much Overwatch. So you just you try to defend something, attack something. Yeah, it's basically that gameplay. It's very fun to play with friends. So, anyways, Overwatch is already very addictive. So basically you have that core gameplay that's pretty addictive already, and then you make it free to play just like Overwatch, and then you do it with Marvel heroes. So yeah, pretty much it's a no-brainer, right? It's like this concept should have been done before. But anyways, very solid gameplay and everything. I mean, it's hard to mess something like this up, right? It's like, okay, as long as you have a group of buddies to play with and everything, or just even playing with strangers online, right, it can be very addictive. So, anyways, Marvel Rivals is going to be my number 25 pick. If you guys like Overwatch and Marvel, then it's a no-brainer. All right, number 24 is Sulaco. I mean, Sulaco is this first-person shooter game that's really inspired by the old-school shooter games from the 90s. In particular, I think like Duke Nukem 3D, Shadow Warrior, like that era, like the build engine. type first-person shooter games, and I love build engine FPS games. So you know, just like how I loved Ion Fury, which was kind of a new build engine game that came out a couple years ago. And when Sulaco came out, I was like, okay, gotta try this. And I'm really happy that there's so many like retro style FPS games coming out nowadays from indie developers. Yeah, like you've seen like Turbo Overkill and Ultra Kill, Warhammer Boltgun. All these fast-paced FPS games. Proteus is another one, I think. All very cool, and I think Sulaco is definitely one of the best retro-style FPS games I've seen on Steam so far. I mean, it's kind of saying a lot because these days you're seeing retro FPS games make a comeback, but Sulaco is definitely one of the most well-done, I think, out of the ones I played this year. So yeah, it has a classic type of mid-90s type of aesthetic to it, and fast-paced, and yeah, it honestly just reminds me of like, yeah, it's Duke Nukem 3D or Shadow Warrior. Just you're playing as a girl, and you're in this more cyberpunk type environment, and hey, you know, that's awesome. So anyway, Sulaco is going to be my number 24 pick. I really do like this game. 23 is Scald Against the Black Priori. This is a retro style RPG. And you guys can tell, right? Like the art style and everything is done as if it was like an early 90s DOS game. And I love that, right? So I love the old school DOS aesthetic, and like I grew up with DOS games, right? From the early to mid 90s. So just seeing a game like this, it just really brought me back, and it's really well done actually. So it's well done. Got great reviews online so far. Now I haven't really like beat the game or anything, but I just played this for like an hour or so. But already, you know, I like it a lot. So, anyways, yeah, it's retro style Western RPG. You have a party of up to 6 people there, and really, yeah, does remind me of like an early 90s DOS RPG. So, yeah, where it also has some like survival crafting and stuff like that baked into there as well, which I guess it's kind of a trend nowadays, right? You see a lot of games having the survival crafting stuff baked in everywhere, so it's kind of a trend. But yeah, anyways, retro style RPG, like done in the style of like the early 90s DOS RPGs, and that's just awesome. Yeah, I just love the aesthetic of this game, and gameplay is really solid as well. So anyways, I did check out the demo, and then I purchased the full game after. So Scald is my number 23 pick. Number 22 pick is Satisfactory, and this was an interesting pick for me because it's like I played a lot of these open world survival crafting games this year, and I mean everything from Power World to Enshrouded to yeah, this game and a whole bunch of others. There's a lot of open world survival crafting games that I played, and it's just kind of a trend these days, I think. It's kind of a trend to make something like this open world survival crafting concept. But Satisfactory, I think, might be my favorite out of them all. Yeah, I would take it over Power World and Enshrouded, I think. I mean, those are nice games too. But
there's like an unlimited storage space because it uploads.
Yeah, I think Satisfactory is done. It's pretty polished. That's why I like it. And I think Astroneer is another one. Astromedica is another one as well. That's like a Subnautica in space. But I think out of those all, I think Satisfactory. Just I'm playing kind of a sandbox mode here. But Satisfactory is one of the most polished out of them all, and you have a ton of different options that you can build here. So I mean, just it's insane. Like I barely scratched the surface when I was playing this game in this video. It's just so much that you can build and so much that you can do in this game. So in terms of the scope of this game and you know what you can build, what kind of materials you can get, what you can craft and hook up and everything. Yeah, it's insane. So I barely really scratched the surface. I think I only tried to build a few things because there's just so many things you can build and so many things you can do in this. So yeah. Anyways, and you're on this alien planet, of course, because it has a sci-fi vibe, just like a lot of other open world survival games. No Man's Sky, I think, kind of inspired this kind of aesthetic too. Although this is a lot more, this is graphically much more impressive, I would say, than No Man's Sky. So, Anyways, the graphics are another thing. Yeah, this game is not so much on the cartoony side. I mean, it's actually got a more realistic vibe to it. There's games like Astroneer and Power World and No Man's Sky. Those are on the cartoony side. This is more on the realistic side, which yeah, I mean graphically it's a little bit more impressive. But anyways, I'll pick Satisfactory as my pick for my top open world survival crafting game that I played.
Well, the chainsaw doesn't. You can't use the chainsaw.
All right, number 21 is Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. So this is the latest game in. Actually, it's not the latest game. Sorry, I know there's a Trails Through Daybreak 2, but it's the latest game that's been released in the West. Because Trails Through Daybreak 2 hasn't been fully translated yet. That's coming out this year. Well, actually, 2025. Yeah. So, anyways, Trails Through Daybreak. Actually, it's my favorite Legend of Heroes game so far. I think they did a pretty good job with this one. Most of the Legend of Heroes games I found to be like pretty much similar. Like if you played one, you pretty much played them all. And I played like Trails the whole Trails Through the Sky arc. I played the Azure. Trails Through Azure, and then that arc as well. There's like the Crossbell arc. There's all these arcs. There's a Trails Through Cold Steel, like the Cold Steel arc. So yeah, there's a bunch of different arcs, and it's all like one big story that's entwined and stuff. And Trails into Reverie actually as well, which is supposed to be the series ender. But Trails Through Daybreak is interesting because the combat system as well. So the combat system, you can actually switch in between this turn-based combat system and this real-time combat system. You can have it be more in-depth, or you can have it be quicker. That's actually the same combat system that you'll later see on this list with Metaphor with Fantasio. But Trails Through Daybreak does it as well. So I like the fact that they switched up the combat system, and I do think that the story and characters are a little bit more interesting to me as well compared to other Legend of Heroes games. So yeah, Legend of Heroes is a massive series. There's so many games in the series, right? I think most of them are pretty much in like mid to okay. Like they're good to mid. Like I would say none of them are really great. None of them are bad. They're just all in the mid to good like kind of tier, right? But Trails Through Daybreak, I would say, is probably a little bit better than the rest for me. I think that this one, because the innovative combat system, and I do like the story and characters a little bit better. So I'm gonna pick Trails Through Daybreak. Surprisingly, like I didn't expect this game to catch my eye as much as it did. I thought this, just another Legend of Heroes game, I'll check it out. But actually I did like this one better than most of the Legend of Heroes games that I played. So anyways, number 21. Alright, so number 20 on my list is Granblue Fantasy Relink. I really enjoyed playing this game, and I think this game actually surprised a lot of people. Because Granblue Fantasy is not like a huge JRPG series or anything, so I think it kind of got overlooked. But then when Relink came out, people were like, "Oh, this is actually pretty solid." So yeah, it's a very solid action RPG. I think it surprised a lot of people with how good it actually was, and surprised me as well. Because like I was like, "Okay, I'll check out this JRPG, right?" And turned out to be actually one of my favorite JRPGs of the year. So yeah, Granblue Fantasy Relink. What I like about it is basically it's just everything is pretty solid. You'll find this. I rank this pretty close with the next game on this list, which is going to be Ys 10, because they're both like action RPGs, but they're just overall solid. I'm not going to say they're like all-time great or anything like that, but they're just solid. So yeah, you have a decent cast of characters here that are kind of charming. Story's okay, and the combat is nice, so it's satisfying. And then you have the kind of semi-open world that you usually get with JRPGs, right? So overall, I just think it's solid. Like, I didn't have Visions of Mana on this list, but I did like this better than Visions of Mana, so I'm just gonna say that. I thought Granblue Fantasy Relink was, I enjoyed it a bit better. Yeah, and yeah, just the character design and the environment. I mean, the gameplay is just your standard JRPG thing, but just character design and the setting, and overall, yeah, just I think it's just a solid JRPG. So again, not like really great or anything like that, but solid enough to make my list. So definitely one of the more memorable JRPGs I played on this year. So that's why I put Granblue Fantasy Relink, number 20. All right, number 19 is Ys 10 Nordics. So this actually is probably my favorite Ys game, I would say, and that's that's kind of surprising to me. Like when I got Ys 10, I guess I didn't have like really high expectations for it or anything because Ys 9 wasn't really like that great for me. And I thought like, okay, Ys 8 is my favorite, right? Lacrimosa of Dana, and what's gonna top Ys 8? Well, this game actually topped it for me. I know it doesn't have as many playable characters as Ys 8. Basically, you only have these two characters, right? But Karja and of course you have Adol Christian, but I think that the character depth is more because you have more limited number of characters.
None of them
You have more limited characters in this one, but you have more depth on the characters too as a result. And then you have a stronger type of relationship between the characters. Especially, I really do like Karja. Karja is like one of my favorite characters in any Ys game. She has so much more depth and complexity to her compared to a lot of other Ys characters. And the story is like your typical Ys story of like, hey, Adol Christian, you know, he's an adventurer and stuff, and he has to help these people. But yeah, I do think that the characters and the fact that you kind of do things together, you have like these dual attacks together, really tie your relationship closer together. So because of that, I think the character depth in Ys 10 is just better than other Ys games. So anyways, this ended up being probably my favorite Ys game. So Ys 10 Nordics, that's why it makes my list at actually number 19. Because I don't know, there's a lot of good indie games I played this year as well, but this is definitely one of my favorite JRPGs I played this year. So yeah, Ys 10 Nordics makes my list. Alright, so 18 is Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Another interesting entry because I didn't expect this game to be released. Actually, like, I guess I don't know how many people would expect another Legend of Zelda game to be released this year, but in this one you play as Zelda, which is again something that's kind of surprising, because like I don't know, for me I thought, okay, last year we had Tears of the Kingdom, right, and they're gonna need a couple more years to build up another Zelda game, right? Well, didn't expect a game like this to come out. It's not done in the style of Tears of the Kingdom, of course. It's done in the style of Link's Awakening remake. But this one you play as Zelda and it's almost like a puzzle game too. It's not like just an adventure. It's almost like a puzzle game because you have the ability to clone objects and you use this ability to essentially solve puzzles in the game. So I know Zelda's always been about Legend of Zelda has always been about solving puzzles and stuff, but this game in particular is more so about that because you use your ability to copy items to really try to solve puzzles and everything. So yeah, it's still an adventure game, but definitely more puzzle heavy. And I do like the mechanic though. Like being able to clone objects and stuff is a really cool mechanic, and always it always surprises me that Nintendo manages to put a new spin on every new entry of Mario and Zelda, right? Like every new entry of Mario and Zelda, they've managed to create something new with it. It's never like boring. So anyways, pretty impressive. So yeah, Echoes of Wisdom kind of surprised me here. It's a pretty interesting game to play. It's definitely more puzzle in this one, but yeah, very fun to play. Interesting mechanics. Okay, so for number 17, I'll have Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. So this is a third-person shooter game, and it's pretty similar to Gears of War, I'd say. I actually like it better than the latest Gears, so I played Gears 5. I think Space Marine 2, I liked it better. It also has some similarities to Helldivers 2, and I also like this better than Helldivers 2 as well. So yeah, I just think overall, I mean, this just makes sense for the Warhammer universe, right? Like this type of gameplay, it just makes sense. You're just mowing down hordes and hordes of enemies, and you're this, just basically this badass. So yeah, I mean, it just fits well with the Warhammer universe, right? I know people are going to say it's a Gears of War clone, but it's done well. And I know a lot of people, myself included, that prefer it over Gears of War. So, I mean, the first 3 Gears of War games were very well received, but then after that, it's very more hit and miss for people. But Space Marine 2 is very solid. So if you guys are looking for like a co-op third-person shooter, yeah, there's Helldivers 2 there as well, but I think Space Marine 2 for me it's a little bit more fun. I mean they're both good games. I'm not going to say anything bad about Helldivers 2, but I like Space Marine 2 a bit better, and it's a fun game to play, especially if you're playing with friends and stuff. So just yeah, I know it's a Gears of War knockoff type of game, but it's done in the Warhammer universe, and it just fits, right? It just fits in this universe. It's done well. So anyways, environment, setting, characters just fits well, and if you're looking for this type of like carnage where you're mowing down tons and tons of guys, yeah, this is the game. So it's just all done pretty well. I mean, look at how many guys are coming out. It's crazy. Yeah, if you're just looking for a game to, it's not cozy in the sense of like, you know, relaxing, but it's cozy in the sense that, hey, if you want to get your slaughter, yeah, if you're stressed out and you want to take out your stress on something, then this is the game to do it. Alright, number 16 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I know this might seem a little bit low to a lot of people because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was nominated for Game of the Year by a lot of people, but yeah, for me it doesn't rank as high because honestly, I enjoyed playing a lot of the indie games that I played more this year, and you'll see some indie games, you know, higher up on this list than this game. I mean, this is a good game. Final Fantasy VII Remake was a great game, and Rebirth is also a great game. Yeah, they just basically, if you like Final Fantasy VII Remake, then Rebirth is just a continuation of that game. Really, you have beautiful, gorgeous graphics. You have your classic Final Fantasy VII characters in this one. Yeah, if you enjoy Final Fantasy VII, then obviously you're going to be attracted to this game. It's done in the same style, right? Like as in some of the newer games, it's done in an action RPG style, essentially. So, I think, yeah, Square Enix has already been going this way since Final Fantasy 15, and I know that some people might be turned off by that because, oh, Final Fantasy is not traditional turn-based anymore. But okay. Well, they've been going this way since Final Fantasy 15, so it's not been really even Final Fantasy 13, it wasn't really that turn-based, right? It was kind of semi-real-time already. So, yeah, they've been going, Square Enix has been going this way for a long time. They haven't really been traditional with the Final Fantasy games since 12, I think. So, anyways, 7 Rebirth is great. Definitely, it's comparable to 7 Remake, I'd say. Like, maybe some people say Rebirth is a bit better than Remake, but yeah, they're both great games, very stylish, and yeah, you have your classic, iconic Final Fantasy VII characters like Cloud and Sephiroth, Tifa, Aerith, right? Yeah, they're all in here. And yeah, just very stylistic combat and everything, and yeah, essentially if you like, you know, Final Fantasy VII, and really gorgeous visuals, then check out this game. The only reason it's not higher on my list is because I'm actually not a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII, and I actually enjoy my time with the indie games a little bit more. I just find like these types of games, like Final Fantasy 16, I had the same reactions. Like Final Fantasy 16, too much like cinematics, too much stylish combat for me. I guess I prefer a little bit like more traditional maybe RPG gameplay in a sense, because yeah, I felt Final Fantasy 16 was almost like a hack and slash, right? But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I actually like this better than Final Fantasy 16 because it's not quite as heavy on the cutscenes. I mean, there's still a lot of cutscenes in this game, not quite as heavy. Final Fantasy 16, I just felt like I was watching, like I was playing an interactive movie, basically. Whereas Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, okay, yeah, there's cutscenes, but hey, yeah, I got some more good gameplay into this one. Anyways, and plus you got more iconic characters, right? Final Fantasy 16 characters, they're not quite as iconic as Final Fantasy 7 characters, so yeah. Anyways, solid game. I didn't rank it as high as most people did, but it's still on my list, so yeah. Alright, so number 15 is Sucker for Love, Date to Die For, which is kind of an adventure visual novel game. It's actually both. As you guys can see, that it's kind of like a first-person point-and-click adventure, but also it's got visual novel aspects in it as well. So yeah, it's kind of both. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I played the first game as well. But I think I like the first Sucker for Love game as well. There's two of them. But I like this one better. This is a sequel. And this one definitely has more gameplay elements to it. So yeah, this first person perspective and stuff is only on the second one.
Some J-pop stuff going on, or
so
what?
it's essentially a horror romance. It's a combination horror romance visual novel adventure. You don't see that often, but that's what this is. Because you basically summon like a god, and then yeah, then you basically as you play through this game, you know, try to also get some romance going and everything, and you try to get the right.
Let's get out of here.
Here I'm trying to find the right items, I think. So yeah, it's almost this is the adventure part where I try to get the right items, but then you also have to avoid the people, the cultists who are trying to kill you as well. So anyways, a few different gameplay elements in this game, but I do like how it's designed. I like visual novels. I like romance visual novels. I also like horror games. So the combination of the two is very interesting to me. So yeah, you run into some cultists and stuff like that. You try to avoid them, and you also try to, you know, obviously you try to. The adventure aspect is interesting because you like wander around this Japanese house and stuff, and you try to collect the right items and stuff, and you try to please the god, the lamb god here. So, anyways, I think it's a really good improvement over the first game. I liked it a lot better than the first one. So definitely recommend this one to people who like horror and visual novels, and also adventure games too. But I also like the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously too. So there's some good humor in this one as well. Alright, so number 14 is Beyond Shadowgate. So this is a first-person point-and-click adventure game that's really meant to be a sequel to Shadowgate, which is this is a very old-school, like 80s point-and-click adventure, also done in the first-person style. You're trying to basically it's almost like a dungeon crawler, but the fantasy elements and stuff in it is known for being quite difficult. This one in particular, I think, is trying to be like the NES version of Shadowgate. So it's trying to be really a successor to that version, and it's done in the exact same style as the NES Shadowgate. So yeah, if you could look at the graphics in this one, yeah, it's really like the Nintendo version that they're trying to do, because there's a few different versions of Shadowgate. Originally it was actually for the Macintosh, but I think most people might be familiar with the Nintendo version, and this is that basically trying to copy the presentation artistic style of that version. So the interesting thing is that there is technically two Beyond Shadowgate games. The other Beyond Shadowgate game was released in 1993 exclusively for the TurboGrafx CD, and it's also very different. That game is more of your typical point-and-click adventure style. It's from the side view perspective where you move your character around. It's like this is what I mean. Yeah, it's essentially like a third-person side view perspective, which is how most point-and-click adventures are like. But this Beyond Shadowgate game is done exactly like the NES Shadowgate. So it's first-person point-and-click, and I think they did a really good job. So if you guys like playing the original NES Shadowgate or just the original Shadowgate game, then this one is more of a true successor than the other Beyond Shadowgate game, I would say. So, anyways, it's a bit surprising that this game came out, because I think there was already a remake of the original Shadowgate game that came out in 2014 for the PC. So to have kind of like a true sequel to that game done in an NES style is I didn't actually expect that. But anyways, this game apparently was on crowdfunding sites and stuff, so it was in the works. But yeah, it's done really well. It's just done in the original NES Shadowgate style. It's more like a true sequel to that game. So I think that they did a really good job trying to replicate that style. And yeah. It's not like an easy game because you still got to figure out what to do and where to go and stuff. But if you guys are interested in Shadowgate or point-and-click adventure games, definitely check it out, especially first-person point-and-click adventures. All right. Okay, so number 13 is the Crimson Diamond, which is, again, another retro-style point-and-click adventure game, except this one is done in a very traditional point-and-click adventure style. In particular, it's trying to be like a Sierra point-and-click adventure from the late 80s and early 90s, and that's really cool. I actually really like those old-school point-and-click adventure games. So if you guys are familiar with King's Quest or Space Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, those types of games, yeah, the old Sierra point-and-click adventure style games, then this is pretty much just like that. And yeah, if I didn't tell you guys, you would have thought this was like a late 80s, early 90s game, right? No, it's actually a game from 2024. So yeah, I think this is done by a single developer, but it's done really well. I mean, it's done just like those old school point-and-click adventure games. So yeah, I really do like it. It's basically like an investigative, like mystery game, some horror in this game. Yeah, there's like a killer murder mystery in the house, like Hugo's House of Horrors. I think that's another game I played back then. Maniac Mansion. It's another point-and-click adventure I played back then that has similar vibes to those games. So yeah, anyways, you're in this this type of haunted house type of environment, investigating stuff. You know, like most point-and-click adventures, you're trying to figure out what to do and where to go, right? So this game's no different. And then eventually, you know, you try to find out who the killer is, and the mystery is going on and stuff. So anyways, highly recommended for fans of point-and-click adventures, especially the old school Sierra point-and-click adventure games. We'll definitely lock this one. I mean, this one even has a text parser, right? So if you have a text parser, then you're talking probably like 80s, right? Late 80s point-and-click adventures with text parsers in it. Yep. I actually don't really like text parsers that much, but for this game I make an exception because it's just done well and very charming.
Yeah,
so,
1914.
I mean,
there
just
wasn't any
look at the graphics of this game,
no
the graphical
modern
style
refrigerators.
and everything.
Yeah,
It's done really well. It's very charming. So anyways, Crimson Diamond. Did not expect a game like this to be released this year, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly like those old school point-and-click adventure games. All right, number 12 is Starstruck Hands
Wearing
of
a really
Time.
old jail outfit.
This is a really interesting
wearing a really old jail
indie game that I
outfit, this one.
played this year, and you can tell from the graphical style it's really unique as well. So I mean, the graphical style is almost like yeah, it's almost done in this like claymation style, but I don't know if it's really claymation or something like, or stop motion or something, but it's done in a really unique style. It's also very quirky and weird.
Alright.
So-
Improvisation.
Yeah, it's a quirky and weird game, like the dialogue and everything. Oh yeah, so what's cool about this one is that you can actually use a Guitar Hero controller if you want. I didn't have one on hand, but you can actually use a Guitar Hero controller for these rhythm section parts. So yeah, there's these rhythm section parts where you can play along, which I find really cool. Not a lot of games are like that, where you have this type of Guitar Hero type of rhythm sections in the game. So yeah, so you have this section of the game. You also have really quirky like type of dialogue and presentation. So it's just really unique.
Yeah, I can
style.
play guitar anytime by
So I think there's a section. I think this song is actually kind of original in this game. So I remember there's a
no amplifier.
yeah. So I think this song was actually originally recorded for this game. It's actually all original, and the girl's actually singing in this song here. Yeah.
There we go.
So anyways,
Trying to get used to the controls.
this game's unique. It's just unique, and I really liked it. I like the
Yeah,
the
it'd be better
unique
if I had an
artistic
actual
style.
Guitar Hero
It's kind of like,
controller,
okay, is this stop motion? Is this claymation? Like, what kind of style is this? It's pretty unique. You have these rhythm sections, which are like Guitar Hero type sections in the game, which is, I like Guitar Hero, so I'm always happy to see that type of thing in this game.
That's pretty cool.
And it's also a little bit weird. So that's also, it's quirky, right? And that's what's also interesting about this game. Very, very interesting, quirky game. So yeah, I remember some of the parts you play around as a giant hand, I think. Yeah, there's some parts in this game where you play around as a
What?
you become like a giant hand, and
Why?
you knock over like stuff. So yeah, I think, let's see. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, so there's parts in this game where you play like as a giant hand, and then use tools and stuff, and you knock
What the
down
heck
stuff
else?
like it's a
Screwdriver.
Lego. Like,
There we go.
yeah, it's weird and it's quirky
This
and
part.
it's I don't know. I like it though. It's like, okay, this one is like, okay, you unscrew this police car. Yeah, you unscrew this police car. Oh, okay, and it explodes. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah, we saw.
weird and quirky, but very interesting game. I really do like it. So, Starstruck Hands of Time. I do highly recommend it. One of my favorite indie games I played this year. Okay, number 11 is also one of my favorite indie games I played this year, which is 1000 X Resist. So this game is interesting because it's so first, the graphical style is pretty cool. I mean, it's got this kind of warm vibe to it. It's cyberpunkish. Yeah, it's I want to say it's kind of cyberpunkish, but can also be kind of horror as well. So like you see that this mood and lighting kind of makes it more horror, but also can be more cyberpunk too. So it's got the different lighting actually makes a huge difference in this game, and yeah, it's got this kind of like warm tone to it for the character models and everything. So it's almost like you're in a dream, I guess. So it's really interesting. The story is also really interesting, very sci-fi. I wouldn't say that it's the most understandable story. I think I'm still kind of confused about the story, but it's really interesting and quirky. And yeah, even though I can't really understand the story like that well, yeah, I think one cool thing in this game is that you can time shift. So you can travel back in time to another time period, and then it can help you get through some obstacles. And then you have you have sequences like this where you have to like zip around. So anyways, another really interesting indie game. And that's why I like indie games a lot. Oftentimes I like them better than the AAA stuff, because I feel like indie games are very innovative and original. See, the thing about thing about AAA games, even though they're graphically very impressive and everything, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, why is it so low on my list? Because, well, and Dragon's Dogma 2 it was an honorable mention, right? These are AAA games. Okay, graphically they look really impressive. Gameplay-wise, sure, they're solid, but they're not exactly the most original or innovative games, right? But when I see a game like 1000 X Resist or Starstruck Hands of Time, it's like these games are so original and unique, and something that really only an indie dev could have made, because it's not something that would appeal to most people. But it's cool that we have indie developers to make these kind of very unique games. So anyways, 1000 X Resist, highly recommended, because it's really cool, like sci-fi story and adventure, and yeah, it's just unique. That's all. The gameplay is unique. You can time shift between different time periods to be able to solve puzzles and get through obstacles. It can kind of shift in tone between cyberpunk and horror at times as well. Actually, this part of it seems a little bit more horror. Yeah, so it kind of shift between different moods in genres almost because of that, just depending on the type of style this game chooses to impart. So anyways, yeah, very cool game and highly recommended. Another one of my favorite indie games I played this year, 1000 X Resist.
Yeah, I remember
Alright,
the
so
bathroom,
number
I think,
10
was
on my
a big
list is
difference.
Clock Tower Rewind.
Yeah, the finals, yeah.
And this is another surprise for me. I never expected the original Clock
villains.
Tower game, which was never released in the West. I didn't expect that to get a release this year. And I'm happy though. I'm really surprised and happy that it did. So yeah, this is an official Western release of the original Clock Tower game. So for most people, I think the original Clock Tower that was released in North America was not the original Clock Tower. It was actually the second Clock Tower game. That was for the PlayStation. For many people here, that was their first experience with Clock Tower, was the PlayStation version. However, I've always preferred the Super Nintendo version. That was the original version released in Japan. We didn't get an official release over here. We just had fan translations. But now, 2024, this year, we finally got an official Western release with Clock Tower Rewind. And it's seriously one of my favorite horror games. It's this point-and-click adventure-style horror game. You've got classic Super Nintendo 16-bit era graphics here. And you play as Jennifer, who's actually, I think, based on Jennifer Connelly, I think.
I don't know.
But yeah, love the vibe of this game, the graphic style and everything, and it really does creep you out because you have well, you do have the scissor guy here, so I think his name is Bobby or something like that. But anyways, it's done in a point and click adventure style, and I love point and click adventure games. But you do have the horror aspect too, right? Because once you get that, once you get the scissor guy coming out, you got to run away from him. So. Yeah, let's see. Okay, see, like here, I genuinely felt like really frightened, and because it's like I can't go anywhere. I can't go anywhere, and yet he's coming. He's coming, right? He's coming for me, and I had nowhere to go. So it's even though I know the graphics are like 16-bit and everything, it still gets me like gets my nerves on the edge, right? When something like this happens. It's like, okay, I really can't go anywhere. And the guy with the scissors is coming. Still gets my nerves up. So, yeah, it's still scary, man. Oh, no. Yeah, it's still scary. So, anyways, Clock Tower is a great, I would say, all-time great horror game, especially for its influence on the genre. And I'm so glad the original Super Nintendo version got an official Western release. So anyways, that's going to be my number 10 pick here. My number 9 is Unicorn Overlord. So this game is should I call this an indie game? Anyways, it's developed by a small Japanese studio, and it's really done in the style of Ogre Battle. So Ogre Battle is like, yeah, it's an RPG, but it's like also strategy as well, where you try to move your guys in a group to a certain, let's say a certain area, like a fortress or castle or somewhere, and then you try to take them over by defeating the enemies that are kind of stationed there. There's other games like this. Brigandine, I think, is kind of like this as well. And I think Dragon View, I think is that, or Dragon Velour, one of those games is like this as well. Anyways, a few, Dragon Force, I think, as well. Yeah. Anyways, there's a few other games that's kind of done like Ogre Battle, but Unicorn Overlord does it really well, I think. It's essentially like a modern version of Ogre Battle, and I think the execution is done really well. For one of these like Japanese RPGs that's done by like a small Japanese studio, yeah, it's pretty good. There's another game, I think Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes, that's also done by like a small studio, right? But I just prefer this game a lot more. I think this is done a lot better. That game was just trying to be like Suikoden 2, but not really like Suikoden 2. But this game, though, very well polished. So yeah, I really do like it. If you guys like Ogre Battle, that type of gameplay where it's kind of like RPG and strategy at the same time, because you gotta go move your units to a certain area. You have to you have different units that you group them with, and then you try to defend different areas and stuff. And then yeah, when you do the actual combat, as you guys can see, it's almost done in the style of Yakuza Union, I would say. So the combat itself is almost like a Yakuza Union, but then the overarching gameplay is like Ogre Battle. So anyways, done pretty well. I know some people consider it one of the best RPGs of the year, actually. So anyways, Unicorn Overlord, definitely it's going to make my top 10 list. Okay, so number 8 is Until Then, another one of my favorite indie games that came out this year. This game really deserves more respect, I think, because I didn't see anyone really list it for Game of the Year, or even Indie Game of the Year. I mean, come on, like people said Belaytro's Indie Game of the Year and stuff, but like there's so many more indie games that are more, to me, they have more dev hours put into it and have more depth than Belaytro does. Belaytro is just one of many like roguelike type games that were released this year. But Until Then, okay. So this game has a lot of charm. It has heart in it. The graphics are very charming, right? It's done this your typical indie pixelated 2D style, but it's just got so much charm in it, and it's got so much heart. So it's like this game was obviously made with someone who experienced a lot of the pains of, I guess, being a teenager in I think this is takes place in the Philippines, I think. So yeah, it's being a teenager growing up in the Philippines, I think. And you really do feel like you're that teenager, right? That's a Filipino teenager, because you're going through your everyday life. You're going through stuff like romance and heartbreak and things like that. And you look at here, like you're even like texting your friends, and it's pretty much like how you would text your friends, like high school people in the Philippines would text your friends, or even American people would text their friends. It's very relatable, right? So it's sometimes like when he texts us, he would like type something and then erase it and then type something else, and it's like so believable, right? It's just something that you would normally see when teenagers do. So I just find this game very relatable, and it's authentic and it has a lot of heart. So love the story in this game. I love the characters in this game. So yeah, Until Then, I ended up playing this game like for a while because I really did like it. I didn't expect to, actually. I thought, okay, I'll just check this game out. It's got some pretty good reviews on Steam. Ended up playing it for a couple hours. So anyways, yeah, I think when it comes to indie games, I think this game deserves a bit more love and a bit more respect and recognition. But Until Then is definitely one of my favorite indie games of this year. It's just so authentic and has so much heart. You just feel like you're in the body of this Filipino teenager, and you are him, like growing up in the Philippines. I guess, and you're going through all these hardships and stuff that Filipino teenagers or just teenagers in general would go through. So, anyways, very, very relatable game. Yeah, I love it. Alright, number 7 is Age of Mythology Retold, and yeah, to be honest, this is another one of those games I never expected to come out this year. because I didn't expect that there would be a remake of Age of Mythology, one of my favorite real-time strategy games. But here we are. Yep, Age of Mythology. I've always liked it because, well, I've always been into Greek mythology and monsters from Greek mythology. So, yeah, Age of Mythology was probably my favorite game. I think out of the Age series, like Age of Empires. I like Age of Empires too, but it's just Age of Mythology I like better because of the Greek mythology stuff. So I've always been into Age of Mythology. It's always been one of my top RTS games. So the fact that there was a remake that came out this year, I mean, surprising, but a pleasant surprise. Just like with Clock Tower Rewind, it was a pleasant surprise to see this game get a remake. So yeah, and it's pretty much an updated version of the original game. So just get better graphics and everything. It runs smoother. So it's a really nice update. So yeah, again, I did not expect an Age of Mythology remake to come out this year, but I'm happy that it did. And this still remains one of my favorite real-time strategy games. So yeah, I would say like this is really up there. I think I've made a top 10 list of my real-time strategy games, and yeah, Age of Mythology is really in my top 10 all-time for RTS games. Just love the fact that you can build all these Greek units, have like hydras, like fighting titans and stuff. I mean, it's cool stuff. I mean, yeah, Greek mythology has so many like cool creatures, right? So it's really cool to have all these creatures fighting each other, and then also fighting the Greek soldiers, the Spartan soldiers and stuff as well. It's really cool to see that. So anyways, Age of Mythology Retold is pretty much the definitive version of Age of Mythology now, so I'm glad it came out. Alright, so I'm gonna go with Silent Hill 2 Remake for number 6. And yeah, this is a really good horror game. I actually never played the original Silent Hill 2, but I recognize that the original Silent Hill 2 was considered probably the best Silent Hill game and one of the greatest horror games. And I can understand why, because compared to Resident Evil, it's interesting because, okay, Silent Hill and Resident Evil are two of the most famous horror game franchises in the West, right? Japanese horror game franchises in the West. And it's interesting how different they are. Resident Evil is definitely more action focused, right? You just like shooting zombies and stuff. Silent Hill is more like psychological horror. It's you do have monsters, but it's just not really that common. And the whole point of the game is not really to kill monsters. It's the psychological horror aspect, the thriller aspect, the suspense aspect, right? So you're basically looking around this town, and yeah, it's the horror aspect is really not knowing what's going to be there around you, right? And kind of the suspense aspect. So yeah, I find that in that sense, Silent Hill is more of a true horror game than Resident Evil is. But yeah, like the remake version, done really well. Again, I've never really played the original because I didn't have a PS2. But remake is done well. I mean, it's a great horror game. What can I say? These monsters, genuinely creepy. They're not, I mean, kind of you can say they're kind of like zombies, but they're genuinely kind of creepy monsters. And again, the horror aspect of Silent Hill 2 is not the existence of those monsters, but it's just like the not knowing what's going to be there, right? It's a psychological horror aspect. So that's what really makes Silent Hill 2 really a great horror game. So anyways, this remake is just it's a good remake. We've seen a lot of horror remakes happen recently. Resident Evil 4 got a remake last year. System Shock 2, Dead Space. They all got a remake. Even Alone in the Dark got a remake this year. Not quite as good as Silent Hill 2 remake, of course. A lot of people probably didn't even know Alone in the Dark got a remake this year. But anyways, that's another horror remake. And of course, Alan Wake 2 came out last year as well. So you're seeing a lot of great horror games coming out these days. And yeah, Silent Hill 2 Remake's one of them. Just a really great horror game, probably amongst my all-time horror games, I would say, actually. Just because the psychological aspect and the fact that this has now been updated with more realistic graphics and everything just makes it all the more, all the more scary. So anyways, Silent Hill 2 Remake is a great horror game. Alright, number 5 is Stellar Blade. So Stellar Blade, I actually was pleasantly surprised by this game because everyone always talks online about Stellar Blade, like, oh, the visuals, the main character is too sexy, too hot, stuff like that, and they always joke around about it. Yeah, sure, she's based off of a K-pop star and she's really nice looking and all that, but aside from all that, this is just a great game in terms of gameplay. Like, it's solid. It's almost like a Souls-like. Not really a Souls-like, but I would say maybe like in between a Nier Automata type game and a Souls-like. So it's like, yeah, it's got some influences from Nier Automata, which is another great JRPG. Actually, this is a Korean-made RPG, but yeah, Nier Automata is a great RPG. Stellar Blade took a lot of aspects from Nier Automata, but they added some aspects of Souls-likes as well. So you got to do a lot of dodging and parrying in this game. And then you pair that with really great visuals. It's running on the PS5, of course. And you pair that with a nice musical soundtrack in the background and a sexy main character. Yep, and you get Stellar Blade. So all around, just a great game. I think I would call this an RPG, but some people just call it a hack and slash. Yeah, cool. You can call it a hack and slash in the same sense that, oh, it's kind of like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, but to me, it's actually more of an action RPG. I'm gonna say it's an action RPG like Nier Automata. Okay, I know you can technically say it's a hack and slash, but I'm gonna call it an action RPG. And by the way, just you know, just so you guys know, the top 5 games on my list are all going to be RPGs, really. Because I'm a huge RPG gamer. I love playing RPGs, so maybe not a surprise to most of you who watch my gaming stuff on my channel. I love RPGs. And yeah, Stellar Blade is just a great RPG that I played this year. Beautiful graphics. Gameplay is very solid, right? It's based on Nier Automata and with some Souls-like thrown in, like the dodging and parrying. The kind of crazy monsters and stuff is all in here. And then you have that nice ambient music soundtrack going on in the background with vocals, actually, I should say, not just ambient, but you have some soft vocal soundtrack going on in the background as well. So the music's very beautiful. And you have some intense boss fights in this game as well. So you pair that all together and you have a great game. So Stellar Blade, really one of my favorite, and I do want to call this an action RPG, one of my favorite RPGs that I played this year. Wait, number 4 is Persona 3 Reload. This is a remake of Persona 3, and I have a sentimental attachment to Persona 3 because it was the first Persona game that I played. I started playing Persona 3, I think, when I was in university. I just took a whole summer and I just completely beat the game. I think it was like in between my summer classes. And yeah, I just spent an entire summer playing Persona 3. So I always have a sentimental attachment to Persona 3. I know Persona 4 and 5 are considered probably the more polished, more complete games. But I've always have a soft spot in my heart for Persona 3. And of course, when this remake came out, I got really excited for it. And yeah, it's a great remake. I mean, the graphics and everything are overhauled to where it's like it's overhauled in a way where it's not like it doesn't completely change the game. I would say it's not like a Final Fantasy VII remake or something like that. It doesn't completely change the game like that, but rather it just updates the visuals to where it's like very, very shiny. And I like it. Like, some people don't like the new visuals, but I like it. I think it's done really well. So they updated Persona 3 to make the visuals more shinier and everything. And okay, they didn't have the female protagonist of Persona 3 portable, and I think that's fine. I know a lot of people like the Persona 3 female protagonist, but I'm okay with the male protagonist because that's what I played in Persona 3 FES, previously my favorite version of the game. So I'm okay with that. I'm actually glad that they took the elements of Persona 3 FES, because in that game you can just wander around the hallways and everything. You can actually move around. Whereas the thing about Persona 3 Portable is, yes, you get the female protagonist, but you can't really move around. So that was a huge drawback of that. You can't really move around as a character to these different places. But Persona 3 FES, you could, and they did take that and made it into Persona 3 Reload. And yeah, I do like that they did that. So you can actually just, walk around the base here, so that's cool. And now with updated graphics and everything, so yeah, so this is pretty much, for me, the definitive way of playing Persona 3. It used to be Persona 3 FES HD, which is on the PS3, that's how I played it before. But now Persona 3 Reload, now that we have the remake version, this is pretty much the definitive version to pick up. And it's a great RPG. I mean, for me, Persona 3, I think I had it on my list of all-time JRPGs for me. So yeah, it was on my top 10 all-time JRPGs, but I think because of the sentimental value of it as well, of this being my first Persona game. And of course the music is great. Everyone knows Persona has great music, and Persona 3 soundtrack is amazing as well. I think for the Reload version they actually remixed all the soundtrack from the original. So anyways, nothing to complain about this game. It could have actually easily been my number one for this year, but it's just that because it's a remake, you know, I already played this game before, so it doesn't have exactly the same impact as it did when I first played it. But anyway, still very, very solid. It makes my top 5. Yeah, definitely still one of the top RPGs I played this year. Alright, number 3 is Metaphor Refantasio. This is the game that a lot of people had as their game of the year, certainly their RPG of the year. And for me, like, it's not in my top, it's not my top pick, but I recognize, you know, why people would have it as their game of the year, because it's a great game. Funny it comes after Persona 3 Reload, because yeah, it's Atlas and everything. So when I play Metaphor Refantasio, it's like, okay, this game is trying to be like Persona 5 in many ways. It's like the core presentation of this game in gameplay in many areas is based on Persona 5 Royal, which is a great game. Persona 5 Royal is an all-time great JRPG, right? So they took that as a base, and then they have this medieval fantasy setting, and yeah, and they made it to where humans are actually monsters. And you're trying to defeat humans, which is interesting. It's a little bit different. I mean, you have essentially something similar to Personas, but instead of having a persona, it's like you yourself that kind of transforms into that thing. So yeah, it's a little bit of a twist. So I consider Metaphor Refantasio kind of Persona 5 with a twist, essentially, but in a different setting. You're not in the school setting anymore. You're in a medieval fantasy setting. So it's like Persona 5 Royal in a medieval fantasy setting with a twist. So that's essentially what Metaphor Refantasio is, but that's good enough to be game of the year. I mean, yeah, you have the great gameplay, great music, as you would expect with Atlas, and presentation, you know, art style, everything is just top notch. So all in all, very polished JRPG, and I think this game could easily be one of the great JRPGs of all time. You know, some people are already saying, hey, it's actually better than Persona 5 Royal, and Persona 5 Royal is like what, like a top 20 JRPG all time. So yeah, if that's the case, Metaphor Refantasio could be like an easily top 25, top 20 JRPG all time. So anyways, great JRPG, great game. I didn't have it as my top, but it's for sure in my top 3. Alright, my number 2 is Black Myth Wukong. In this game, I feel like should have been Game of the Year over Metaphor Refantasio, but I know that's a personal preference thing. I'm not angry that Metaphor Refantasio won RPG of the Year. It's Astrobot winning Game of the Year, actually. That kind of made me a little bit more, really? You know, because Wukong is like, man, this game is, it's good. I mean, people kind of write off Wukong as just kind of another Souls-like, but it's not really a Souls-like. It's like, okay, the bosses are hard. I get the enemy design is kind of like FromSoft-ish. But I actually think that the enemy design is a lot more varied than FromSoft. The thing is with FromSoft is their bosses tend to be very creepy Japanese horror-looking things, but with Wukong it has a lot more variety than just that. You have a lot of creatures from Chinese mythology, and this game really is kind of like, it's not just based on Journey to the West. I mean, it is, but it's actually a sequel to the Journey to the West. So it's not like a retelling of Journey to the West. It's actually a sequel. So that's something people gotta know. This is more original than people think, right? It's like, okay, it's based on Journey to the West, but it's actually a sequel to Journey to the West. And yeah, I love the enemy design in this game. I think it's more varied than FromSoft. I also like the combat better than FromSoft too. And my friend who played Elden Ring as well, and I love Elden Ring as much as anyone else. You know, it's a great open world game, all-time JRPG. I had it as actually my number 2 JRPG all time. I love Elden Ring as much as anyone else. But the thing about FromSoft games is that the combat is not that varied. Essentially, the combat just boils down to dodging and parrying. Really, it's just almost like a rhythm game. You got dodge, parry, right? When it comes to Wukong though, it's a little bit more than just that. Yeah, you dodge a lot in this game like I'm doing here. But the thing is, once you get, you expand your skill set, you get more forms to take over, you can shapeshift into other forms, and then you can use more spells and stuff. And that's when you can actually mix and match the gameplay a lot more. So it's a lot more than just dodging and parrying. you also have the shape-shifting abilities and the spells to mix it up with, which makes the combat a lot more fun and interesting actually than FromSoft games. So yeah, Wukong I don't think it's just another Souls-like. The combat's more interesting. I think the enemy design is more interesting. I think the setting as well, because it's Chinese fantasy, you don't see too much of that in RPGs. And graphics are beautiful. It's Unreal Engine 5. It's one of the best looking games I've seen. Just overall, it's great. The only thing about this game is that it's not open world like Elden Ring is. So I wish it was open world, but I think that's the only thing about this game is I wish it was more open world. Oh yeah, it doesn't have the respawn penalty that Souls-like games have either. So it's hard. Like the bosses in this game are difficult. Don't get me wrong. This guy took me like what, almost like an hour and a half I think of trying to beat. Yeah, so it's still hard. The bosses are definitely difficult and the enemies are difficult, but it's not quite as punishing as a Souls-like game is, I would say. So anyways, yeah, I just wish they had the overworld that Elden Ring had, but otherwise I would say that in terms of combat, this is actually better than Elden Ring, but just doesn't have the open world. Anyways, Black Myth Wukong is my number 2 pick. It's an all-time great RPG in my opinion. Okay, my number 1 pick for my top game of 2024 might surprise some of you guys, or maybe not, but it's Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Sequel to Like a Dragon, which already was on my list for all-time JRPGs, but then Infinite Wealth just kind of expands that. It just adds even more to it. So yeah, already I think Yakuza Like a Dragon was great. Infinite Wealth adds in a completely new area of Hawaii. It's the first time that Yakuza has ever added an area outside of Japan. And you get to play as both Ichiban Kasuga here, as well as Kiryu Kazuma. So you get to play as Kiryu as well. And you get to have the the turn-based RPG combat system that Like a Dragon had, which I think really made the series a lot more fun to play. Because the thing about Yakuza is well, I've always loved the concept of Yakuza games, like being in open world or semi-open world in Japan. I would say it's not really fully open world, just like an area that you can kind of explore and you can go into different shops and stores and stuff. But it's very Japanese, and I love that because Japan's such a cool place. So I love the concept of that, and having so many mini games that you can play. Going to the arcade and playing some mini games, the karaoke stuff, the baseball stuff, hostess clubs, like all that. I love all those mini games. And the storyline, because usually the storyline is full of drama and betrayal and things like that. So I love those aspects of Yakuza. The thing I didn't like about Yakuza was the combat, because the combat was really kind of repetitive. Like Kiryu just have to fight the same kind of street thugs over and over again. Well, Like a Dragon really changed it up by making this turn-based and also giving you different party members so you could try out different attacks and stuff like that. That really changed up the gameplay for combat, and that made it a lot better in my opinion. So I really did like a Dragon because of that. And then Infinite Wealth just adds on to that by giving you the Hawaii area and also giving you the management sub-game as well. We can kind of manage your properties of Hawaii. So it just really expands the gameplay a lot. And I play this one a lot. I think this must have been, maybe the game I played the most this year. Like, new game for sure. Like, out of the 2024 release games, I think, I played this more than Wukong. So, yeah, Infinite Wealth is definitely my pick for my top game of 2024, because it took a game I already really liked, which was Yakuza Like a Dragon, and then it just expanded it, right? Added in Hawaii, let you play as Kiryu, added in more mini games, and then that property management system, Hawaii. I mean, and then you have the same great stuff, like you have the mini games, you have the semi-open world, you have the same like storyline of betrayal and everything. So you add that onto everything else, and you get probably what's my favorite Yakuza game, I would say, and one of my favorite JRPGs of all time, really. So, anyways, yeah, I really love Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It took a already great game, just made it even better, expanding it and everything. Now, my friend who likes Like a Dragon doesn't like this game as much because he says the difficulty level is lowered in this game. It doesn't have a difficulty spike that Like a Dragon did. But to me, I think for most people that are not hardcore like him will like this game more. Because, sure, it doesn't have the difficulty spike, but it's a little bit more balanced in that sense, and it adds in more content. So, yeah. Anyways, it's an all-time JRPG for me, and yeah, it's my favorite Yakuza game. So I mean, just so much content in this game. So, anyways, that's my top pick for 2024. Oh, there's Kirikazuma right there. My top picks of my favorite games of 2024, my top 30 list. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what you guys think of my list. I know Yakuza Infinite Wealth was not Game of the Year for many people, but it is for me. So, it's the game I spent the most time on this year. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of my list in the comment section below. And, yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Out of over 400 games I played this year, I think this is my top 30 list.